Okay, Alan and Sue and Charles and Spencer, you're all live.
Good evening and welcome to Behind Closed Doors with myself, Alan Merritt. I've got Sue and Charles also with me tonight, and hopefully Sandy's going to join us. Might be other guests coming and joining us, but somebody did have difficulty getting on because they had power cuts. But we'll play it by ear, and we're going to talk about basically what happened in last week. And Sandy's back in, so I'll admit Sandy. And we've also got Sandy with us now, who's just joined us as well. All right. So, first of all, good evening, Charles.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm fine.
So we've got Sue, Charles, and Sandy. Now, if for guys who didn't know, last weekend was a fantastic weekend. We went to Glasgow to join Quarriers, and Sandy and Jane. Sue was there with Jean.
Alan, I can see Jane there hiding off camera.
Yeah,
Come on, Jane. Come on, Jane. Don't be shy. Give us a little wave.
She's away through. She was just coming in with my.
Oh, was she coming in with a coffee? I saw Jane just come into view.
And I got mine first.
Hello, Jane.
Once without coffee, Charles.
Terrible.
So yeah, it was a brilliant weekend, and Charles has got his Gordon Bennett. Yeah, brilliant weekend. Sandy, you deserve a lot of credit for what you did. An absolute brilliant thing organised. It went just so smoothly. It was just brilliant, and you planned it down to a T. I mean, it was absolutely brilliant. Everything you did, from picking us up at the station to taking us around and showing us some of the sites, to even our meals and everything was brilliant.
And the demo was brilliant.
And Jane, you and Jane were absolutely superb.
Thanks very much. It was a pleasure having you. And as I say, you'll be more than welcome next year again. We'll be having it again next year.
Yeah, but you better still be on your best behaviour, I'm telling you, mister.
Well, I know. What a rest I'm having.
But we did the 2 demos because we was up there for 2 weeks, and after the second demo on the Saturday, which went really well, because I surprised myself that I actually got up and spoke for the first time.
Did you well?
And then on the Sunday, we went to the Litton Hills Great Cemetery, where all the children's headstones were, which was really emotional. We laid out 158 glass candles and put candles in them and lit them all. And Sandy and Jane did a little speech. John Wedger actually cried because he couldn't believe what was actually there. It was awful. It is awful seeing that many children, 338 children buried there, and just deserted, but they're not no more. And then I think it was Friday night, we went up to the cemetery again, and we lit all the candles in the dark and took photos of it. And then
It's all right. I know it's AJ. It's all right.
when we, I took a photo from down the end, and I was sending them to Sandy, and I noticed something, and there was like a thing in the picture, like a ghost in the top right hand picture.
I tried to fathom that out. I still couldn't fathom it out, and I kept getting Kath to look at it, and we was looking at the picture, and I said, "Can you see a face or something?" I was trying to work it out, and I couldn't really see.
It's like 2 eyes up the top.
Were they leaves?
Were they leaves?
Yeah.
How could they?
No, because I saw some debris on the ground, some leaves and stuff like that, fallen
on
debris.
the right hand. No, it's up the picture.
Oh, was it further up?
Yeah.
I'll have to have another
right-hand
look at it
side.
because I'll have to have another look at it because I was probably looking in the wrong place. I couldn't see for looking.
Well, I'll try and send you another one of it.
That's spooky, isn't it?
Yeah, it was spooky.
A lot of people saying it looks like 2 children. with an adult. And
Oh
if
my
you
God.
look close at this, it's wow. You know, really look at it close right enough. And then you'll see
Just to let everybody know, AJ is with us as well. So AJ will probably get a chance in a minute to talk. I just want to let everybody know that Charles is with us, AJ, Jason, Sue, Sandy, and myself. AJ, we were just explaining that we were in Scotland last weekend. I don't know if you saw anything of it. Sandy done an absolute brilliant job, and Jane with the Quarriers Warriors and Quarriers Children's Orphanage, which is now a village, basically, isn't it? It's always been a village, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a sort of rural country village. You know, that's what it is, you know, but we were telling you, they had everything there. We didn't need the outside world. You know, they did not need the outside world at all. I got an email in from Quarriers today. Well, Jane got one in the other day there, asking us about if we could uplift the tea light holders. And I get one in telling us that they'd be appreciated if we could lift the tea light holders. Well, we've got that done. They've also told us they're not doing, the only thing they're doing is a plaque in the wall with the 3 missing children's names. Pardon me. And that's going to take several months to get done. So what several months is, we don't know. Regarding the signs in the gate and springs in the gates to keep them closed, they say they've spoke with their grounds crew, and the grounds crew reported back that there's no need of them. They've also spoke with the residents. Again, they've spoke with the residents, and the residents don't think there any need of for that. Now, that's the other thing, as Alan's shown, that sign there, that's where we'll be campaigning to get changed next. That's a bloody disgrace. You know, that's something else. Oh, but they're just coming at. But
You see it, Charles. That's what they've got in Quarriers. Now you've got, bearing in mind, you've got how many children are buried there, Sandy?
There's there were 338 children laid to rest in the Nittings Hill Cemetery, and they forgot to put 3 of the children's names on the plaque. These children, nobody knows what they died with. There's one so-called woman, and she's trying to research us. But what she forgets is Quarriers had their own doctors there who signed. They needed 2 doctors. Quarriers had their own doctors. They signed this. So they could put anything they wanted down what a child died. We don't know. We can't say it was or it wasn't. But it's funny when a child died there, it was these 2 guys who were signing the death certificate. This is our recent children. But both the doctors are dead now. One of them is buried beside the children, which is wrong. I don't like that at all. Personally, I don't. And that was the guy that chopped Jane's fingers off. We've had a lot of really bad comments coming in. One, especially, for 2 people who have been in that graveyard. One of them knows Jane really well and says Jane never had her fingers cut off. She was born a thalidomide. That's destroyed her. That's bloody destroyed her. You know, how dare they say a thing like that to Jane? How dare they? And I am very, very, very angry and annoyed at them. But I'll see them shortly. I will see them shortly. One of them who was there last year and had the cheek to piss through the door of one of the cottages. He's making I'm a liar that there's staff is buried in there as well beside the children. No, wrong. There's a plot for William Quarriers and his wife and his sisters and all these money people that was involved with Quarriers. That's like one plot. There's a gravel path, and on the other side it's the children. It's laid to rest of 338. Now, Quarriers removed these children's headstones. Why, how, we don't know. There's no records why they removed the children's headstones. And a few years ago, it was Jane that noticed this, pulled it to my attention, and we started a campaign to get them reinstated. It took 3 years. It took them 3 years to get these children's headstones replaced, and we had to fight every step of the way. They told us at first they would replace them when we first met. Then they told us there were never any children's headstones there. Then they told us they had met with former children of quarriers. We don't know any who they met with. And they were saying, no, the quarriers was right, there never were any children's headstones there, that's a blatant lie, a lie. But we come on a video that quarriers made themselves, showing you all around quarriers, and it also showed you the graveyard with the children's headstones in it. So they were still trying to say it wasn't, so we took it to the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry, and we let them see it. And we also went to the press. We didn't want to do this, but they forced us to go to the press and release us. And we had to name and shame them into replacing those 330 old children's headstones. Oof. But we done it. And last year we celebrated, well, with my first sort of wee service for the children, but this was our first of our annual services we held on the 27th of September there. I'd like to thank everyone that attended, especially Sue and Jean, John Wedger, I mean, wow, and yourself, Alan. That video that you've done interviewing us and stuff, I mean, that's really getting hits. It's getting it out there, letting people see what like this place was. You know, it's really bad, especially with Beastie Bell Tower. That's an evil, evil man. He was asked, did he want to, well, Lady Smith at the Child Abuse Inquiry asked him, would he like to apologise to his abusers who were sitting there? And he went, no. She asked him again, and he went, no. He was asked twice, and he refused. That's how evil a man he is.
Yeah, well, I did the video because what was happening, there was so much going on, and we was trying to do everything, and it was just, yourself, I was with everybody, and John as well, and I ran up them stairs. Well, I don't do run normally, because I was trying to catch John before we had that photograph. So by the time I got there and I started that video for the Beast of the Bell Tower, I was puffing and chuffing like a good one.
Yeah.
And then actually, thanks to Jason edited it for me, which was brilliant. Jay edited it.
Thank you.
And he got because I couldn't get the camera to switch round, so I had to stop the video and restart the video where I had done the interview with John. And John did a brilliant job of it. He done you proud, I think.
Oh yeah, real well. You know, it is amazing, and as I say, I mean, it's about 4,000 or 5,000 hits it's had so far, something like that. You know, so
there where we are. Well, that was on Saturday.
That was a good one.
That was on the Saturday when we was in St George's Square. Where's it come? It's gone a bit darker. See if I can get it a bit lighter. There we are. That's Sandy, Sue, myself, and Jean. Jean, nearly 80 years of age, comes with us all over the place, doesn't she, Sue? Sue, I'm talking to you. She's not listening to me. Right,
She never does all in.
I know, I don't know what she's doing.
Her mic's muted.
Oh. So you're muted.
Sorry, I was moving. I didn't want to make a noise. Yeah, Jean comes everywhere with me.
Tell the truth.
Be
Sorry.
quiet,
So
you got what?
go on, Sue.
Sorry.
Go on.
Yeah, no, Jean comes out with me. Wherever I go, she goes with me. You know, she comes from London. I come from the South Coast. But we get out there, no matter whether it's windy, snowing, whatever, we're out there. And we go to demos as well. So
I'm going to bring AJ in because it's a while since I've spoke with AJ because I've seen him quite a few times, and of late I haven't seen anything of him. So I'm going to bring him in because AJ always talks a lot of sense. So I'm going to bring AJ in. If there's any questions he wants to ask, or ask Sandy or the Quarriers, because I don't know if AJ knows, but Ed might have filled him in a little bit as well. AJ, good evening.
How's it going, sir? How's it going? Yeah, don't get me started. I'm just here to listen. In context, though, I did want to say that 2 days ago, some very tragic news in the United States. The Congress actually voted to condemn QAnon at a vote of 367 representative for yay and 17 for nay. And, I'm not really a believer in QAnon, but I think it is kind of insulting to every child sex abuse, child abuse victim, child trafficking victim, that, our Congress in the United States just condemned the idea that there are international child sex trafficking rings. So I figured I'd chime in with that. And then as far as what Ed was talking about, I haven't been filled in, so if you could let me know, I'd really appreciate it.
Sorry, AJ, I was just typing. Can you hear me or?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I was typing
muting
at the same
myself.
time when you were speaking. I was trying to type. I went into the chat room to see what was in the chat room, and I started to type as you finished. So I had to quickly come back out. I shared a lot of stuff with Ed, and Ed's going to share about the Beechholme children's home that we all are, like Sue, myself, and we're all acquainted with the Warriors, the Beechholme Warriors, sisterships with both groups, and so on and so forth. And Ed's going to share it in Russia and in the States, which was good of him to do. And I said to him, "Can he pass some stuff on to you as well?"
Yeah, that would be great. I'm still waiting to get some of the memorabilia you were talking about so I can put it in my dad's shops.
Well, I've sent it to Ed, and Ed said he would send it to you.
Perfect.
So if he comes on, he's on his show tonight, 10 o'clock. If I get time, I'll nip on and see if he can send it to you. If not, I'll sort something out and I'll try and get it to you as soon as possible.
That's amazing. Take your time. Yeah, I just when you told me you had a bunch of like pins and I think you said masks as well for saving the children and stuff. That's just so cool, man. That's just so cool.
You're going to bring Charles in, if I may. Charles.
I've got a printer scanning and that might make noise.
We had a good day Friday, didn't we?
Was it Friday? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, Friday. Yes, we did. So I think.
We was filming for, what, 4 hours?
More, I think.
Probably more. We was filming for about 4 hours. Kim was doing the filming. Charles was doing the makeup.
Yeah.
You want to tell them about that?
Well, while Alan was, doing his interview or speaking for the camera and all this lot, you know what I mean? I actually said to him, if you don't feel that he can become hysterical crying and that I'll punch him on the nose to give real effect. So whenever there's a halt in the proceedings, I was going, is that makeup? I weren't required. No, come on, AJ, you got to make them realistic, haven't you? You're a solicitor. They got to be realistic. You know what I mean? Blood, tears.
Let's explain a little bit to bring AJ and the guys up to speed with that as well. But it was a brilliant week. In fact, what we did with Quarriers and everything Sandy and Sue and everybody else done when we was up in Scotland was absolutely. Listening to Sue speak really was brilliant for me because she stands in the background a lot and she leaves a lot of stuff to me. And it's nice for her to stand shoulder to shoulder with me and actually say. And she was very good. And I think her confidence is growing so much. So I've got every faith in Sue. Sue is coming out of this shell so much. But Friday, what we were talking about was we were trying to get our case to court, and we're going to try it down the road, AJ, of common law. Now we've got a case.
Yeah.
issues that's already there to start with. But what we've got to do is like, we've now got it all on video. We've got it all written out. Louise Dickens did all the typing for that. She came and audio typed it all. Ken done all the probably 5 or 6 hours of filming, Charles.
Yeah, something like that.
So he's gonna marry it all up, because it's strange when you're trying to do your story, you go off key a little bit, but then Ken sort of brings you back in, and then he relights it, sort of mixes it, kind of thing, and edits it, and so puts it all back together. It's quite difficult to do, to be truthful, isn't it? I mean, you just sit there and trying to remember everything while you're looking at other people in the room and focusing on what you're trying to do and seeing what everybody, all eyes are on you. But yeah, it went quite well. What did you think, Charles?
Yeah, I think it was, went very good and that sort of thing. That Ken knew what he wanted to produce on the films, actually for the courts and all this lot. You know what I mean? The essential points and that sort of thing, all coming from you, sort of thing. And I think it's Sue and that he wants to do. Have you told him?
Yeah, Sue knows. Sue knows. I'm trying to get. What I did is I spoke with Sue, because Sue's very important to me, because she's like my right hand man, and I'm totally lost without her, to be truthful. Yeah, so, and her story is horrific, and what happened to Sue, and when we talk about it, her the abuse, because he abused you as well, didn't he, Sue? Gray.
Yeah, that's the one who did it. Yeah.
Gray abused Sue in what house was it?
Thistle.
It was Thistle. It was the same house my sister was in, I think, earlier. Was it earlier? You came after, didn't you?
Mm.
And my sister was in that house, same cottage as Sue, and she was abused, and he used to come in the bathroom and bath my sister and stuff like that, and do, touch the kids up and all that in the bathroom, and he abused Sue as well. And then Sue went to report it, and it went from snowball, because we weren't allowed to say anything and do anything. And Sue's such a strong woman, and I always say to her, you're tougher than you make out, and you're a lot stronger than you know. And she doesn't give herself any credit, because how she's survived what she's been through, because she's been through a lot, in you, Sue.
Yeah, I have, but I mean, as I said when I did my thing, what happened to me all them years ago, I can't cry about that no more. I've done all my crying for that. I cry now for because my grandchildren were abused, and thank God I got custody of them. So I can cry for them. I can cry for the children of today and tomorrow that are getting abused, So I can't show my emotions very well. I just accept what happened to me happened, and there's nothing I can do to change it. My abuser got put in prison, but he didn't get put in prison for what he did to me or the other girls. He got put in prison for a cup group, and there's just no justice. And all I want is...
I sometimes think about that, because I said to you, I was in the Cubs in Beechholme, and I just remembered, I'm sure one of them used to wear, like, was it Bowling Powell? The cap? The scout leaders' caps?
Yeah.
And I'm sure one of them used to wear a cap. And I'm not too sure if that was hemp. Heap, or
he left, yeah, he went over to Shirley Oaks.
That's right, yeah, he did, and he abused in Shirley Oaks as well. But I don't know if it was him or Mr. Gray.
Weren't Mr. Gray?
Wasn't it?
No.
So no. I can't remember who it was. That I can't stem back that far. My recollection, I just remember burying my subs in where the church entrance was to the doors, there was a little bit of greenery and some shrubs and what have you. And I wanted me subs for some sweeties. So I said I lost me subs, and I buried them next to their church. And I dug a hole and put me subs in this hole. And when I went to try and retrieve it, I couldn't find them. So that teaches me to. And they kept saying, "Where's your subs? Where's your subs?" I said, "Well, I was running down the road, to get all excited to come to Cubs, and I tripped over and I dropped my subs, but they wouldn't have it."
Yeah, I was going to say to you, Ed actually put a thing up about Beechholme today.
Right.
And I don't know if it was him or someone else in there had mentioned about satanic abuse being in there. I don't honestly believe it was happening there. I really don't. I do know there are children's graves there, and they are babies. Where they came from, whether it's from the workhouse or from afterwards, when it turned into Beechholme. So I don't know, but the gravestones, there was gravestones there, definitely, and they were behind the horriblest, scariest house in Beechholme.
But I mean, we can't speak for others, Sue, as well. I mean, what happened to other people is like a long while back. I was trying to enlighten and bring your story out a little bit. And to be truthful, it wasn't my story to tell. The individuals have got to tell their story, and some people might have different aspects and different ways of, and there are going to be other perpetrators.
Yeah, and there, we did have the paper. I don't know if it's the Daily Mirror or the Sunday Mirror. Came, did some interviews, which I've still got, and it says at least 118 children were abused in Beechholme. That was before the police had actually finished their investigations. But now, I mean, we're down to nothing because I think the people, the other children, they expected it to be done quick and over with, whereas it said it could take over 4 years to be done. So, and then we got some replies back saying, I don't want to get involved in it, but if there's money, then I'll have the money.
But my take on it as well, Sue, is well, and I've spoken to Charles and other people on this as well, and Delroy as well. I spoke with Delroy, and they kind of said to me, "Do you think?" Because they've said the case is concluded in my instance, where there's 2 of the perpetrators still alive to this day without even interviewing them, that they wanted to find out exactly what we knew.
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
And they wanted to find out what names we were naming, what people we knew, the extent of what knowledge we had on the people involved. So the inquiry that the police were doing, they were spending a hell of a lot of money on it.
Yeah. Well, when they came, they phoned me first, and I was a bit annoyed with her. She said to me, she's talking about bits and pieces. Then she said to me, "Can I have the name of your abuser?" So I said, "Harry Gray." She said, "I knew you was going to say that." And it was just the way she said it to me, you know. And I told her about Mr. Banner as well, because I was the most cane girl in Beechholme. I don't know, I must have been fit because I never learned. But I thought it was just me and Moira that reported him. But it turns out 10 other people reported him. So why was nothing done? They had that many people.
You know, exactly the same thing, because we've said exactly the same thing. Even to this day, I had this conversation when we did this on Friday, and we were talking about, and Ken said, "Can I get other survivors to come forward and do the film and so on and so forth to make it easier?" A group of us taking the whole case on, and then different people are going to name different perpetrators, and they're going to name a systemic kind of abuse that went on through different cottages within Beechholme. And it's funny because Michael and Paul have turned around and named the same people, the same cottage as I have. So how comes if I'm naming the same people, it's not something that we've collaborated on? We haven't just sort of got together and turned around and said, "Look, we'll make this story up," right?
Mhm.
It's been said by other
Yeah.
people. Other people, we didn't. None of us knew what was going on with the police investigations, and none of us got together before the police investigations. So everything we said to the police was in total confidence. And then,
No,
go
sorry,
on,
Alan.
go on, AJ, go on.
It's an equivalence of evidence. What you're talking about. Two non-linked witnesses that have essentially the same, testimonial that would indicate the same thing is happening on both ends. And this is just my opinion, because a lot of people do think this is not true, but I think that a lot of these people are involved in so much, what one would say, getting their hands dirty with one another, that when someone like Harry Gray gets reported, or Jeffrey Epstein, or Jimmy Savile, and the list goes on and on. Their incrimination would inherently incriminate everybody else, which I believe is a large part of the establishment. Not just in local towns, but big government people, and so that's why they're so protected. The police and the local investigators, your Scotland Yard, all of them, they'll do all the investigating, but when they put those papers on the desk, there's someone sitting there that knows that, letting this go any further could mean the end of the British government.
Well said. AJ said that well with Harry.
Yeah. I mean, Harry Gray, I found out later that before I was in the house, probably when Marjorie was there, I don't know, but he was abusing children then. And what he actually did with the older girls, he started being nice to the older girls so nothing happened. And what he did that for a reason, which was so that if any of us younger ones, when we reported it, they went to the older people, no, he's been as good as gold to us.
Yeah.
So it made us look all liars. It's Marjorie.
That's my sister Marjorie when she was abused by Harry Gray, and that was her just as she left Beechholme. That was the young girl just as she left. That's my middle sister, Marjorie Merritt.
Oh, bless her heart. She's beautiful.
Yeah. But
That's so terrible.
with Harry Gray, as I said, like he abused me, and bless her.
That's Anne, my eldest sister. All in Beechholme, all in separate houses, all abused.
So sorry, Alan. That's terrifying.
When I reported it, and I put a picture up, I sent it to Sandy actually.
Who's that?
That's you.
That's you.
That was me and Beechholme.
Good old Alan Merritt.
Look at the haircut they give me. Put a bowl around my head and shaved it.
I had that as well.
That's a Mr. Kimber haircut, that Sue.
I know. We had it as well. But when he abused me on numerous occasions, I woke up one night and I had two young girls in my bit of the dormitory, two sisters. I think they were 9 and 10 or 9 and 11. And something woke me up and I looked up and he was in the bed of the younger girl. And I got up and told him to get out of the room. And the next morning I said to the girls, is he doing it all the time? He said, yeah. They said, yes. So I said, we can go up the office. Do you want to come with me? And they came with me. And we saw Mr. Bruce. Explained everything.
I remember Mr. Bruce, tall, skinny man.
Yeah. And he said, okay, go back to your house. And then obviously nothing was said during that time for a few days. And I remember walking in the back door one day and I was going up the stairs after their stupid dogs tried to bite me. And he was coming down and he grabbed me around the throat and tried to throw me down. So obviously something had been said. And he tried threatening me a few times. He hit my brother, which I went for him for that. And then within a couple of months, I was just, all my stuff was packed and I was taken and then I was put in a mental hospital. And that, to me, was just to shut me up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I used to run away a lot, a hell of a lot. I run away, you know, but as I say, he wasn't done for what he done to us. He got 3 years. And I do believe there was a paedophile ring because the aunt that abused Alan was in the courtroom with him. And when he was being taken out, he was saying, "What about Simmons? He's doing it as well." So obviously something else was going on. And then when I had my second daughter, I was because Beechholme was closed, so my brothers were still in care, so I was staying there. And the aunt that was there, I had actually been in her house before I went to Grays. And she said to me, "Sue, you should never have been put away." She said, "I did fight for you to come back to my house." She said, "because I knew you wasn't lying, but they fought over her. They wouldn't let me go back to her." So they were definitely covering up
Oh yeah.
what was
Yeah.
going on.
But
You know?
we mentioned things in the past when we talked about the treatment of carbolic soap and stuff like that. And then, like, what happened one night was Jean turned around and said, in the 1950s, they were using this carbolic soap, this industrial soap that was used for scrubbing floors and cleaning floors. They were using that to wash the children. And I said to them, they put it in my eyes and they put it in my mouth. And they said, "I washed your mouth out with soap." And they literally did actually do that. They washed my mouth out with red industrial carbolic soap made by Procter & Lever in Liverpool. And then Jane said exactly the same thing. Sandy, sorry, mate, you want to come in? Go on.
You know, it's funny, no matter the orphanage, it's the same story. You know, as you're saying there about with Jean yourself, with the soap, it was the same with Quarriers.
Yeah.
That was a common thing. Same with the bleach in the bath.
Yeah.
You know, and
Paul said the same as well, Sue.
were all these orphanages linked in some way? Was it a mass paedophile ring between Scotland, England, the UK? To me, I would say yeah, personally, because the things that was happening.
I look at it this way, Sandy. If you've got politicians in Westminster and they're from all over the country, and they come to one place like Westminster from all walks of life and from all different parts of the country, what's to stop that paedophile ring from doing the same thing? Look at Jimmy Savile and the amount of institutions that Jimmy Savile went into. You know, I mean, he was even going into morgues and having sex with dead bodies.
Well, it was Quarriers.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry, Sandy.
What's really? Yeah, go on, Sandy. Sorry.
Jimmy Savile, he was involved with Quarriers as well, and the Beast of the Bell Tower. They were a young, well, he's an adult man now, but he gave a statement on camera that he was taken by the Beast of the Bell Tower to an unknown dress where Jimmy Savile was present. There were two boys there, and one of the guys ended up dead. This young boy was given a knife and told to stab this fella. But if you look at this story, Savile was abusing this guy. He had his hands round the guy's neck. This young man, he stated, he goes, you could hear the fella gasping for air. He goes, and by the time everything was over, he was lying motionless in the bed. Porteous went away, come back with a knife, and he told him to stab this young boy.
He told him what? Say that again, Sandy.
Sorry?
Say that again. He told him to stab a boy.
Yeah.
Who was that?
It was this young boy for Quarriers. There were two of them taken away to an unknown address.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know where this address was. But the Beast of the Bell Tower, Savile was present. According to his statement. Savile was abusing one boy while the beast was abusing this fella.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Savile,
No, so Sandy.
Go on. Let AJ come in, Sand.
Oh no, thank you. Excuse me. I just wanted to add on to what Sandy's saying. See, this stuff gets so deep and sinister because things. You had Scotland Yard police officers that had so much evidence on Jimmy Savile. I know you guys say Savile in England, but here we say Savile, and it's crazy to me because he would actually threaten these people, these solicitors and magistrates with death. What are you gonna do? I know the Queen. What are you gonna do? And it gets really scary when you have former CIA officers in the United States like Robert David Steele, Kevin Shipp, talk about something called adrenochrome, which is essentially placing fear in a child before killing them to extract their blood with adrenaline in it, which essentially, has age avoidance benefits, which is why these people never die. And it, gives them a high. This is according to these espionage officers who have spent decades in these agencies. And on top of that, what scares me more than anything about Jimmy Savile is while he was alive, everyone was so scared of him. No one wanted to report on him. And he had 11 hospitals that he only paid the property tax for, which means he had complete control of the building. And inside these hospitals, he housed children with extreme autism and other disabilities that would basically prevent their parents from having a job and taking care of the child at the same time. They couldn't do it. So they had to give these children up to these hospitals. And, there's evidence of these last rides that these kids would go on and then never come back. And it's just, Sandy, I hate talking about it because it gets worse and worse and worse. I mean, necrophilia, torture. It always brings me back to God and the devil because I really don't believe humans are inherently this evil. I think these people are sick and something possesses them. I really believe that.
Yeah, I mean, this young boy, as I was saying, he was given a knife and he was told to stab this fella, this other young boy, and he did. And he was told that he had murdered this adult man now. He lived all through his life believing that he had murdered this other young boy. And when the interview was done, I don't know how many times he broke down. This was a true story. I know it was true. I know it happened. And there were only one video of it. I had it and I gave that to the police and it went missing. I was told that that this young boy had been lying. It was all made up. And that's true. It didn't happen. It did happen. I seen the video getting made. I seen that boy breaking down and crying when he was telling us that story. That video went missing, and it was made at the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry. It was mentioned that the police had investigated it, and it wasn't true. Bullshit! It was true. It was true. The police know what they've done with that video. It's went amiss. They know where that's went to, but there were other people that I let see this as well, and they know my words are true. They've seen it, and they know what happened. They know that this was true. There were no kidding on here. This was a true story, a true statement from one guy that the police would not take serious. And it's the same. I reported one of my abusers for Quarriers. He's still alive, and I've done nothing, not one thing. They've failed me badly. Failed me, and that's all you get. They're not interested.
We've got quite a few in, Sandy, so I've got to try and get around the board because we've got quite a few in. Sue, did you want to come in on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, like when I got put away, now my best friend, as you know, we're not friends anymore. We were friends for 56 years. Now, we did everything together. There wasn't one thing we didn't do together. Now, she didn't get put away, but I did. And they never ever told my family why I was put away. My dad never even knew I was in the hospital. Never knew. You know, and which is strange. And I think I haven't got my files yet, but I've got a feeling they're going to say it's because I kept running away. I mean, they had called me maladjusted. They called me morose, you know, in some of the files that I have seen. So it was because Moira didn't at that time have the guts to stand up about what was happening to her. But I did. So I think that's why I got put away. But I don't know.
But we had all of that, Sue, because I had on my records it says that Alan was very backward, and in some cases they used to call us retards.
Yeah.
You know how disgraceful to call children retards, and we weren't retards, but we was being so cruelly treated because we wouldn't obey them and do, because we did start to fight back.
Yeah, I did with Gray, but I mean, I had a dad who could handle himself, and he could handle himself, but I couldn't tell my dad, because if I told my dad would have killed him, and then my dad would have been taken away from me, and then I'd have had no one.
Exactly.
My brothers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's
You
how
know?
that's how they keep children quiet. They scare you guys, you know, because you don't want
Yeah.
your parents to go to jail. Yeah.
No. So I just had to put up with it. And even though I had 3 brothers there, one in the house that I was in, the other twin in one house, and my other brother in the house where Alan's brother was, where they were abused badly.
Yeah.
And I always sensed my brother was badly abused, but only last year.
I can't remember if you ever told me, Sue. Did you ever at any stage share another cottage in Beechholme? There's 24 cottages, you know, let's remember that there's 24 cottages. And like I was one family with 4 siblings, 2 sisters and another brother. Now, we're all put in separate cottages in Beechholme. At the 24, I was one family of 4, and we were in 4 different cottages. All 4 of us were abused.
I was lucky. I went into Cedar first. My twin brothers, they was 3 at the time, with them. And my eldest brother went into Kerrier, which is known as Bad Boys House.
Yeah.
And
that was Pete Fitzhavish, one of my abusers, who beat me.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I've got to say that, you know, as many houses as there were, not all houses were children abused in. There was some very good houses there. 2 of the ones that I went into, there was no abuse in there.
Yeah, my last house, Beach, there was nothing in that in Beach, although one of the house parents was a bit dodgy. But you know, as you start to grow up, you sort of notice things a little bit more. And I would have been 14, 15, 16 then, and in Beach, 15, 16 upwards. And so you're a bit on your guard. And I was going into Epsom, and I was fighting and all sorts of bloody things. And me and Mickey Graham and a few others, we were right little terrorists in Epsom.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, my ex-husband was a beach-up. My first husband was a beach-up boy. Huh?
I hanged about with Brian for a while.
Yeah. But he never told me of any abuse in his house, you know, so, and, you know, one of my brothers has come forward about his abuse. My eldest brother won't come, you know.
There's a lot of people that don't want to come up.
He can't.
They don't want to go back there. It's so dark, they don't want to go back to that life.
Yeah, one of the twins, I don't talk to him actually, but he doesn't want to go there either, you know. But we was lucky that I was with the twins. But my brother Tony did protect us in there, you know, my oldest brother. But it's just, the sad thing about it all is that now there's all these families, and so many families have nothing to do with each other anymore.
Yeah.
You know, all broke up.
Well, we've never
And-
shared the same room, all four of us.
Yeah, but they don't talk to each other. They've just sort of disowned
That's what
each
it's
other.
done. Yeah, so it's done.
But
But while we got, listen, while we got Charles in the room, Sandy in the room, Sue, myself, Dell's in the room as well, and AJ. It'd be nice if either Charles, Dell, or AJ wanted to ask any of us any questions. So if Charles or AJ or Dell want to ask us anything, feel free, and we'll answer any questions that you've got for us.
Yeah, just give me a few secs. I got a few questions for you lovely people.
Yeah, no problem. Dell, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'll speak to you separately. I've missed your call the other day. I've been busy doing some stuff. No, I've been spending time with all of you. I don't have any issues. I just want to just back up what Sandy's saying. This is why we did what we did on Friday when we were away. I'm not saying exactly what we did because I'm not putting it on online, but we're doing some stuff that means that we don't have to have stuff buried. Because as Sandy correctly pointed out, you give the interviews to the police and, you know, tapes and stuff like that, and everything gets buried and goes missing. What we're doing, what they won't be able to hide. That's why I'm glad I'm doing what we're doing, because they're not going to be able to hide what we're doing. So this is why I've got to a point where I've had enough. The police are a joke. They've always been a joke. I hate them anyway, as it is. But when I hear stuff like what Sandy's saying, nothing surprises me. Like, no, I know how they are. Nothing surprises me. And it's going to have to be the actual survivors themselves that stand up against the tyranny of the police and the state and the government. It's going to have to be, because you can't trust the government, you can't trust the police. That's clear as day. As Alan said the other day in a black marina, just getting taken back to Beechholme. They just don't care. They're not bothered. I mean, in this society, I mean, I'm not going to get too dark, because I could do if I wanted, but I can't be bothered. It's the parasites. They're all parasites. The police are included. They're all parasites. And Sandy's very correct. These, all they do is gather the information, like a fishing expedition, and they're just burying the information. They're just burying it. They're just completely burying the information and the facts, so that no one can be held responsible for what they've done. And that's, this society is functioning. It's parasitic in nature, and it's functioning on the backs of living souls. It's functioning on the backs of tyranny and demonicness and evil. And so the police are part of that. They're a part of it all, because they get the information, they hide it and they bury it, as Sandy's very correctly said. And what we're doing is going to be the opposite to that. It's going to be something we're doing that they don't have control over. And that's what I'm interested in now, because I'm tired of this scenario where every single time the police get called out, and Porris, dumbass dickhead administration Johnson coming out with, oh, we'll pay 60 million up the wall. What do you think it is? He thinks it's funny. He thinks it's, yeah. Just because you didn't have to go through a life like that, don't mean to say that other people have gone through it. Doesn't mean to say you've got the cheek to come around and start talking about pissing 50, 60 million up the wall. Really? And there's no money anyway. It's all fiat currency. It's not even real anyway. Talking about 60 million like it's in real money. It's off the best of it anyway. Stupid dickhead. So my thing is, I'm tired of dickhead politicians and pseudo police lying and burying information. That's why we're doing. We're doing to put a stop to that. What we've doing is we've got control of this. And Sandy's right. And this is why hopefully with Sue, we're going to get down to see Sue and interview Sue, because we're going to have to start getting information outside of their jurisdiction and outside, so they can stop hiding this stuff and burying the information and burying the truth and hiding it. Sandy is spot on. I'm tired of all that nonsense. I said that violently the other day. I'm tired of all that. No more relying on police. No more politicians. Because every single time we go to, oh, we're going to do something, they don't do nothing. They don't care. They're not bothered. Go on, Sue. Go on, Sue. Sue's got a hand up. Go on, Sue.
Go on, Sue. Go on, Sue.
I made a statement to the police a year after I was in the hospital. When we had the solicitors, they sent me a form giving them permission to get that statement from the police archives. And to this day, I've never received that statement. So I don't know where else to go. You know,
it's frightening when you have nobody to look to, because everyone's just shutting the doors on you. And I completely agree with Dell. You know, I'm with him there all the way. I'm so sick of the constant participation, leaving it up to someone else to fix the problems, and then blaming whoever didn't do it. And it's just, like, what is it going to take for people to, I can tell you guys this, my generation, half of us are stupid and just want to make money, but the other half are right there with what Dell's saying. Like, we don't see a future for ourselves in a flawed system, and we definitely don't want to participate in a system where there's just blatant corruption and protection for elites and regular small people. Like, Dell just said, people like Boris have no idea what it takes to be a peasant, which is what we are. We're peasants. We're the best peasants of all time. I mean, to be a peasant in 22 is great, but still, it's not easy. We're not silver spoon fed people. We got to work every day. We got to make a living and still put up with this corruption. I can make a little mistake and spend years in jail for it because I got angry, but these people are doing unspeakable, unforgivable acts, and they're protected generation after generation.
Sandy, do you want to come in? You're muted, Sandy. You're muted. You're muted, Sand. Unmute. That's it.
That's that. Sorry. Well, Jane and I, we both gave evidence to the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry. And we did go and we were asked a lot of questions and stuff, We'd done that. So we got to the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry. And I stood up in front of Lady Smith. And that broke me, big time broke me. With questions I was getting asked. And then the next thing, that was passed on to the police. Policeman, policewoman came to my house. The room I'm in just now, Jane was brought into. I was in the living room. And Jane had the policewoman, I had the policeman. And they started asking us about our abuse. And they were getting right into detail. They wanted to know everything. And, oh Christ, I broke down. Well, I've got a mentor for Future Pathways. Thank God she was in the house that day. And I went outside. And I was ready to do something daft. Really. And I mean, Jane doesn't even know about this. And it was sort of got me. It was just horrific. The questions they were asking me, getting right into detail. Did they ejaculate on you? Did they? Oh Christ, it was. Even now talking about it is breaking me. But I want this out here. I want folks to know the truth. But they scare the shit out of you. They go right into detail. And believe me, that's to scare the shit right out of you. So that you'll not be able to go forward. But I'm going forward. I'm not letting this go. I've seen so many of my brothers and sisters in that cottage I was in getting flogged the shit out of. 40 fucking shades of green shit coming at us. And this is no lies. I still get marks on my back. There were one weekend that I was lying, I couldn't move. And they told my father that I was not well. 2 weekends in the trot. So that by the time I was able to go home, but when I was in lunchtime on the Friday, I used to go home after school, but in the lunchtime on the Friday, I was kept behind, and my abuser told me not to tell my father, because I was coming back there, and God help me if I ever did. If I was asked, I'd say I fell out of a tree. And by Christ, I've seen a lot of kids that fell out of trees. It scars you. It hurts you. It really hurts you when you're talking about it. Even now, it hurts. Yeah. I want this out here. I want to try and give hope, just a bit of hope to my brothers and sisters that they'll get the courage to come forward and speak out.
Stay strong, brother. Stay strong.
Got it. It's the only way I can do this. I'm leading 174 of us into a battle. And it's the hardest battle I've ever had in my life. Personally, I wish it was finished. But it's beginning. It's beginning. This is
But
happening.
it's times me and you have spoken, Sandy, and we've done a one-to-one with each other.
Mhm.
And when I was talking about some of the abuse where I was punched physically, punched in the head, and and you said to me, it resonates with you so well.
The
And when I was
story-
talking about
your story and my story is so identical. Really, really. It's just
you're right.
carbon copy. Virtually a carbon copy. What you went through, I went through, vice versa. But just to give hope to them, some of the emails, private messages we've had in, it's been amazing. Even when that service on Sunday, you know, there were one there, and I put it on my Facebook site, and I don't usually put things up people send us, but it was lovely. And it was a woman, and it was a great aunt. She knew her great aunt had been in quarters. She knew she died as a child in this place. But there were nowhere records anywhere she had been buried. But we found that for her. And now she can go, and she was thanking us. This is what it's about. You know, there's a lot behind the scenes you don't know about her. I don't talk about. But the things that Jane and I have done, I would say I'm proud in a way, but I'm saddened.
Yeah,
Really saddened, more saddened than I'm happy.
yeah.
Because I know what happened in there. And you've got to be there to realise just how bad this place was. And you hear it time and time again. You hear Yavier Kavok, so Sue, Jean, a lot of us. I mean, so many orphanages, different orphanages. There's one man, and we know he was involved with youths, the Beechholme. We know he was involved with so many in quarters as well. His second name was Holman. I don't know his first name, but I want to find out more about this man. He signed records and moved children about, and he was getting money off of all these orphanages plus a bonus. He was making millions of pounds, this man, swapping kids about. These are the, I don't want to swear on it, I promise I wouldn't swear, but that's my.
Goes back to the same old thing, Sandy. It seems to me like children are worth more than drugs.
Oh, aye. Drugs is
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah. The one child's body has a market value of $1 million if you take all the organs into account. And I'm talking eyes, I'm talking every, you know what I mean? And right now, there's two things that are more valuable than oil as far as a commodity. That's our online data, which a lot of people aren't catching on to, but the online data we're putting on the internet that's being sold to companies and other agencies and stuff, that is so valuable. And a child, an innocent human child that's still under the age of wear and tear, right? Drug abuse, alcohol abuse. So you guys, yeah, this, I mean.
Well, going back
Oh,
to
bless him, bless him, bless him. Yeah, no, bless old AJ for that. But as well as that, saying, I think Sue wants to come in and say something. But Sue's got more. I want Sue to come in, and I want Sue to tell more about her story because Sue's not really touched the surface of it, really.
No, I haven't, but I will do. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to say, like years later, obviously, nothing happened about us. But when I found my grandchildren being abused by the stepfather and my daughter as well, I reported it, and I was told that I was an overprotective grandmother. Now, I got custody of my. My daughter was in hospital having another baby, and I picked the two grandsons up, and I was on a bus. My youngest grandson was in a buggy. My friend had the older one up at the back, and she said, "Sue, come here now." So I said to her, "I can't to the bus." I said, "Wait till we get off." Got off the bus, and my grandson on his arm had this big blister on his arm, and it was septic, all septic. So I said to her, "We go up to the walking clinic at New General." We went up there, and the doctor said to my grandson, "How did that happen?" He said, "A dog bit me." So it was only one like thing, and the doctor shook his head, and So he said, no, it wasn't a dog. So anyway, we plastered it up and everything. And when we got home, I said to him, tell Nanny what happened. His stepfather had actually put a nail in his arm and banged it into his arm. He was 6 years old.
Jesus.
Now, there was other things going on. So I started custody proceedings. And, you know, I got things, everything had come out about him being 2 hands in a handcuff behind his back attached to the bed and things like that. He had scars on him and everything. When I got custody of them, I phoned the police up and I said to them, what are you going to do about them now? Are you going to charge them with what they've done to my grandchildren? I mean, my grandson's 23 years old now. And as Alan knows, my grandson doesn't leave his room. He doesn't leave the house. Nothing, you know. He only talks to me, his brother, and that. But when I spoke to the police, I said to him, are you going to charge these with what's happened to my grandchildren? And they said, why? You should be lucky they're safe with you now. And left it at that. Wasn't even prepared to charge them for what they'd done to them. You know, there was many things happened to them. You know. And that was in 2004, I got custody of them. You know, so
you can see why Delroy talks like he does when he says he's had enough of it. And when you speak like you are just saying, Sue, about even your own grandchildren and your family and what you've been through, I mean, it's hard. It's just it's like AJ a few minutes ago when he was talking, and sometimes it gets too much to even talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with you. So it's hard. It's really difficult. It's extraordinarily difficult. And the thing about it, like you said, Sue, you do the right thing. So you contact the police and you do what you need to do. And the police is a complete, I mean, like I said, they're parasites. There's a complete lack of empathy, Sue. A complete lack. That's the word I'm looking for. A complete lack of empathy. I'm just there to do my job. Fuck off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's bollocks. It's bollocks. You're right. I'm just here to do my job. Oh, you look, the review now, so it's all right. What do you mean with me? These children have been emotionally, if you had a child bang nails in the round, these children have been mentally and emotionally scarred, right? They've been through a lot, and yet there's no accountability. Somebody's done something wrong to them, and yet, okay, that's acceptable, that's all right. And it's that lack, so it's that lack of empathy. That they're parasites. It's that lack of empathy that I don't deal with. That's what I don't like. At the end of the day, yes, you've got them, but the only reason why you've got them is because you're as aware of what was going on. That doesn't negate the fact that other agencies such as the police or whoever the agencies were should have been monitoring your grandchildren. I don't know what the primary schools that are doing are going to. I didn't see this, so this should have been obvious. So it should have been obvious what was going on. It shouldn't have. They should have been picking this up at the earliest possibility when it comes to children. Go on, Sue.
They did in the school when we went to a child protection meeting. After I got my eldest grandson, I didn't get custody, but he was living with me. And we had this big child protection meeting. The police were there, everyone, school teachers. Now, these school teachers said in there that Jack used to go to school smelling of urine because he used to wet the bed. And he used to go round other kids' lunch boxes and steal their lunches. Right, because I know that he wasn't fed, and he used to have to go and steal food out of the bins. And to this day, my grandson is 23 years old, and he walks on his tiptoes because he did that so nobody heard him. And no matter how much, if I see him, I say, Jack, put your feet down. You know, and you know. Things like that, people think, no, they're nothing, but they are.
Yeah, it's the trauma.
Yeah.
It's the trauma it's been through. This is what people are not realizing. This is why I said about the lack of empathy, because they've no idea the trauma that the child's been through. If they've picked that up at the school, you know, okay, you've got him. So, okay, the police have decided not to do nothing, but where's the counseling? Where's the emotional support for these children? You eventually, essentially, you've done that. So that's what you've done. You've essentially taken on that role because of what you've been through. You understand that more than probably they do, which is why you ended up having them, because you could clearly see what was going on. But that you did that because you're a grandma at the end of the day. You're always going to be there for your grandchildren. But if you hadn't had stepped in, you imagine what life he would have continued to have if you didn't step in, because it's clear that nobody else was bothered.
He would have killed him. He would have killed him in the end. There was 5 children altogether. I'd already got custody of my granddaughter. She's 27 now. And there was George, and there was Jack, there was Jay, and there was Chloe. Now, I got Jack, as I say, and then my daughter left him, and she came to me with the other 3. And it was really weird because I know something it was all planned. We went up and collected her and the 3 children. She, you know, when children little, you have the health books when you go to the health centre.
Yeah.
Well, the 2 little ones were only 1 and 2 at the time. She never brought their books. She only brought George's. And she said, she came in one night, she said, I'm going back to him. I said, are you? I said, okay. I said, well, you're not taking George with you. She didn't argue with me, nothing. She went off. And then I got told by social services that they were going to remove the little ones. And they did ask me to have the little ones. And I did. I said, yeah, I'll take them. But my husband was alive then. And he said to me, you can't let your heart rule your head. He said, with the problems we've got with Jack, you cannot take on 2 toddlers, you know. And I had to say no. And they were adopted. I mean, I'm still in touch with them and they're doing well. But I went through everything, every kind of counselling with Jack to get him help. And the last one we went to was a cognitive thing.
Yeah.
And he was 15 years old, and they said to him, put the white puzzle with the red puzzle. And he looked at me and he said, no. He said, I'm not a kid. And then they said, I'm going to say something back. And he wouldn't do it. And he doesn't normally talk. I have to do all the talking for him, whatever. So we were sitting down, and it was 2 sort of youngish women. And they were talking to him, and then I was answering for him, and then they'd say, is that right, what your nan's saying, Jack? And he'd just say, nod his head or something. Well, anyway, he was getting annoyed, and when he gets annoyed, he starts tapping. And he was tapping this chair, and I said to the ladies, would you mind just leaving the room, please? They said, no. I said, please. And the tapping was getting harder and louder. I said, please just leave the room. And they sort of moaned at me about it, and they went out the room, and I said, it's all right, they've gone now, Jack, stop. So I said, I'm just going to go and speak to them. And I went out and I said, the reason I asked you to get out the room was because he would have picked that chair up and thrown it at you. I said, because he was losing his temper. So she said, oh, well, if that's the case, she said, we won't see him again. And they washed their hands off him, you know. And I have tried, but trying to get Jack to go out the house, you know, I can't even get his hair cut. His haircut is right down his back. He won't leave the house at all. You know.
Will he go anywhere with yourself? Will he go with you if he goes out, if he goes anywhere?
No. When I go away, he's constantly on I have a grandson. When's Nan back? How long's she going to be? What time's she coming back? You know, he just feels, I mean, all my family call him a weirdo, but he's not a weirdo. You know, he's just damaged.
Yeah.
You know, he does things sometimes, you know. I mean, he's beat me up a few times, but he's got it back because I don't tolerate that. But he'll do things like take all my light bulbs out and turn my pictures round on the walls. you know. But then you can get him on a good day. I mean, he never sits with us. He gets his dinner, he takes it back to his room. He'll come and make his coffees. He'll take it back to his room.
Oh, gosh.
You
Yes.
know, and it is heartbreaking because when me and George, if we're in the kitchen together, he has got an amazing sense of humour. But it's not very often you see it, you know. And I just wish that it would come out and we could do something so he could be an ordinary man, you know what I mean? Have a life.
Yeah, it's hard because you've spent all the time with him, and it's the once they get older, it's harder to open. I wish they'd got that. If you'd have got the help when he was younger, and you'd have got the support you needed, the additional support, I think he would have been. It'd have took him time. It'd never completely recovered, but he would have been at a point where he could do what George is doing and be out and just live relatively normal life. Yeah, he's always gonna have the emotional scars and the mental scars. They're never gonna go. But he'd have a semblance of a normal life whereby he wouldn't be too antisocial. Do you know what I mean? Like you could go on holiday and he'd be comfortable in the house on his own, or he could go out and he'll do stuff himself. Whereas at the moment, because of what he's been through and he hasn't had the support, he's just closed himself off from the world. He said, why would I want to interact with that when all that's done is ever give me harm and grief? I don't want to interact with that world. It's always giving me harm and grief. The only safe place he's got is the home. That's it. And to be fair, what the first place that he got that was safe? There's the home where he is now. That's why he likes to stay there. That's his comfort zone.
Yeah.
He's joy. Everybody's comfortable with who's ever given him any love and support. Is where he is now. He's happy where he is now because that's the safest. That's to him. That's the safest place for him. Because anywhere outside of that has not given him any support or any way of being able to function. I'm not surprised he's the way he is.
You know, when I was at yours, Sue, when I was at your place for that weekend when we was doing the baptism. And I saw him. He came to the kitchen and he spoke to me for a couple of minutes. He didn't say a lot, but I only saw him that once.
Yeah, I mean, when he was about 11, we'd moved to a new house, and his mother still was allowed to have phone contact and everything, and she was all right at first. Then he started shouting in the background, so I refused any phone calls. And then after that, he said, I'm sleeping in your room, Nan. So I said, okay. And he had a bed down the end of my bed. And every night he'd say to me, Nan, why did she let me do that to me? I said, I don't know, love. I really don't know. And then he said to me, have you got the knife? I had to sleep with a machete under my pillow because he was so scared that man was going to come and get him. And I used to say, listen, Jack, Uncle Richard's round the corner. My brother would have killed him. I said, we've got family. We're not alone. No one's... And he'd get up and check under my pillow that machete was under my pillow. You know,
that's how much his stepdad had traumatized him, and that says it all, doesn't it? It says it all. And this is the thing that you see, Sue, and it's heartbreaking for you as a grandma. It's heartbreaking for yourself as a grandma. But he hasn't had the support that he needed to overcome these hurdles. Essentially, all he's done is make sure he can protect, rather than him dealing with the emotional issues he's had. What he's done is he's gone into a safety mechanism. I think, well, I'm safe here, rather than actually addressing actual issues of what his stepfather did to him. He's never had that support. What he has had is the ability to protect himself or protect himself from the outside world, and that's the only place where he's had any comfort, and that's what you provided him is that basic comfort. So the people he trusts is yourself and the family that he's got close to him that he's been brought up with. That's it. And that's because they're the only ones who've always been there for him. So why does he need anything else when he's got what he already needs, as far as he's concerned?
Yeah, I mean, his younger brother, George, I mean, he's my care and everything. And he said to me, Nan, he said, if anything happens to you, he said, Jack's going to have to be with me because he can't be on his own. You know, and I think, what if you have a family? He said, well, he's still got to come with me. I can't leave him. You know.
How old is George?
George is 21 in January.
Okay. So he's still very young. So he's got a good, and he gets out, does his thing. He's quite.
He's at university.
All right,
You
so
know.
you made a success. So obviously because you got him a bit younger and it's whatever reason he's been less affected by it, and sometimes that happens with children. Sometimes they can. It's obviously had an effect on him. Don't get me wrong, because they've seen what's gone on, but
Yeah.
it's been less with him, so he's been able to cope with it better and integrate better. So he's been able to achieve a certain amount of education and do certain things. So to be fair, he's coped better. But every child's different, and they all cope with it in different ways. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing. People got to realize you can't judge another child by another child, because each child's experience is specific to them, and they have to deal with it the way they see fit. You know?
Yeah, I mean, Jack, he went to college, did painting and decorate, and he qualified. He had friends, and then once he left college, that's it. It just went like this. You know, he just went back, and he says to me, "Have you still got the papers of the court case and everything?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Get rid of them. I don't want them in the house." And then something came up a few weeks back, and I think because his mum had got in touch with us again, and they don't want to know her, and she said, he said, "Have you still got them?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I want them rid." I said, "Jack, I have to keep them because you're not the only one. The others have got a right to see these papers." I said, "They're put away, so don't worry." You know, but it's just strange, you know, with him. He was in my wardrobe the other day going through the photo box. He's never, ever done that. And I said, "Why are you looking at the photo box?" He said, "Oh, I wanted this picture when we was dressed up as American cowboys and Jack Daniels there. I was just seeing if the labels were the same." You know?
He's processing things in his own way. That's the other thing as well. So he's got his own way how he's having to cope, because he's never had the support. He has to find his own coping mechanisms. This is what people don't realize. I don't think it's to me, it's not strange at all. To me, I find it interesting in the sense of he's got his own way that he has to compute what he's had to deal with. Yeah, okay, he knows you're there for him, he knows George's there for him. That's not the issue. But in his own head, he's got his own mechanisms that he has to use in order for him to process whatever it is going through his mind at that time. Do you know what I mean? He's got his own way of dealing with it. And the fact is, yeah, you'll ask him this, that, and the other. You know he's doing what he's doing, but that's his way of processing whatever it is that's in his head. Do you know what I mean? He's not the one to come out and say, "I'm going to do it this way." He's just got his own way of doing it, and that's how he copes. Do you know what I mean? That's how he copes. That's the only way for him to be able to deal with the issues that he's got. It's as simple as that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, last night he came in to me. He's not a drinker, or he does drink. He likes his Jack Daniels, but he's had one in there for 2 years. And he came in, he said, "I'm going to drink this tonight." I said, "Oh, okay then." And he was awake. I don't think he even went to sleep. And he come into it, he said, "You didn't come in and help me." I said, "What do you mean, Jack? I didn't come in and help you?" I said, "I can't get in your room because you took the door handle off." He said, "I was being sick in my sleep." I said, "But Jack, how can I know that?" You know, I said, "I can't even get in your room, love." He said, well, he cleaned it all up, bless him. He had done it all. But, you know, I don't know what he thinks I can do. If he's locked it, took the handles off, how can I get in there to him to help him? You know, it is really hard. You know, I mean, he can't even cook. If he does a bit of toast, he thinks he's cooked a meal. George does all the cooking for him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's come. Yeah, he's finding it. I think he's never completely, ever, totally, ever recovered from it. So, and I still think he's still dealing with it in the only way he can deal with it, and that's how he deals with it. But it's affected him to that extent whereby he doesn't process things the way most people process things. He's got his own way of him processing how he sees the world and how he does things, and that's just his way. And I think he'll be like that because that's the only way he can cope with it. Otherwise, I think he'd lose the plot. At least this way, he's got a way of processing things where he's not a danger to any, you or George or anybody like that. But he still has to deal with the emotional trauma that he's been through. So what people don't realize is it is a trauma. Do you know what I mean? And unless you've got to find your own, unless you've had help all your life, which he hasn't had, then he has to have his own way of processing it, and that's just how he deals with it. Do you know what I mean? And that's just how he copes with it. It's the only way he's able to cope.
I mean, he said years ago, he said that he wanted to kill him and her. So I said, no, you don't, Jack. I said, what you need to do is you can do well in life. And then you can go back and say, thanks. But whatever happened has made me go further, and I've become someone now.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get him off the thing of, because he is quite capable of doing it. He's got a very violent temper. You know, when he starts, you know, I've had to come in between him and George. George might be talking too loud on his computer, and he'll go down at him. You know, but I'll just carry on. I mean, I'm doing it. I've got great grandchildren, and I'll over my dead body, will anything happen to them like it's happened to us? You know.
Yeah, and that's what I'll be grateful for, Sue. For me, both him and George will be, and I think you've got the elder one as well. Those three, the first three you've had, they'll be forever grateful. I have no doubt about that. I have no doubt about that. In their minds, they'll be grateful for that, because you're the only ones who provided them with that stability that they never had. They never had that until they came to you. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, that's it. For George, he's done brilliantly well. Jack has suffered in a different way, and he's having to do that. But I can tell you, all three of the older three will be very grateful for what you've done for them. No doubt about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did put up a message one day saying about carers, and I said about my grandson, how grateful I am to him. And he put on there, he said to me, Nan, you don't have to say thank you to me. He said, where would I be without you?
Mm.
You know, I mean, make me cry, but, you know, I don't want to be, you know, them to be grateful to me. You know, I'm a nan, and that's my part. You know, that's who I am. I'm there for that reason.
Yeah.
You know, but I just, you know, it breaks my heart for the children of today that are suffering.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, some children don't are as fortunate as your grandchildren that they've got someone who absolutely will lay their bodies down regardless. You get me? I mean, fortunately for your grandchildren, for the three of them, they did have you, and they have had that. Do you know what I mean? Because if they'd gone into care sector, you know, God knows what would have happened to them. Do you know what I mean? Fortunately, you know what I mean, for the two younger ones that obviously you're still in contact with, which is good. It's worked well for them. But I don't know. Like, for me, for that Jack, it might have completely thrown him. It'd have gone completely off. With you, because you're his family, he's been able to cope the way he has done. But put him in care might have killed him. You know what I mean? It might have sent him the other way. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you have that's why, in a sense, things happen the way they do. That it just happens that the older three that have ended up getting. And actually, to be fair, the older three probably needed you the most.
Yeah. I mean, God forbid if anything happened to Jack, well, any of them, it would kill me. It would absolutely kill me, you know, because they're my world. You know, my great granddaughters, they're my world. As Alan knows, and as Sandy knows.
Would you not go for counselling too?
Jack, I'm trying to. It sounds stupid. I'm waiting for a day where Jack's going to come and sit down with me, or I can bring it up when the time's right. Because,
I agree.
You know, he is very hard going.
It's a strange. It could be a bit lonely for Sue, because she could be in that house and the other guys are in their rooms and they never sort of socialise with the nana, and come into the room themselves and be kind of like what family they've got, try and make something of the space that they live in, if that makes sense.
I assume George is all right, so isn't it? I assume you and George you get on quite in terms of your social quite a lot. I assume Jack's the one that's very more insular. From what
Yeah.
the sides of it, George seems like you and George have got what people will call, even though I don't want to deem it normal, because again, that's not right to deem it as normal. Again, because at the end of the day, you and Jack are still close in your own way. It's just that it works for you and him. Where you and George, obviously, you just what people perceive as normal, even though I don't want to say perceive as normal. You and George pretty much get on and do whatever you're doing. You'll talk with. Whereas you and Jack are still close because, to be fair, he'll come and interact with you when he's ready and he needs to talk to somebody. He ain't gonna go to his mum. He ain't gonna. He might go to his time, but when he does need you, he will actually come and he will seek you and he will talk to you. And you do have that relationship. You do have that interaction.
Yeah.
It's just not what people would say. It's it's like, yeah, you'll see each other every day, but the intensity in which you speak with him it completely varies. It's when he really needs you, he needs you. And if he don't need you, he kind of just does his own thing.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I can get him to do things. You know, he's a good decorator. I got him to decorate the front room, and he's got to decorate. That's a condition. He's got to decorate the whole house, apart from the hallway, because he's scared of heights. You know, but I can get it. Sometimes I'm trying to wait when he decorates again, so that I'm in the room and we'll start laughing about something, and maybe I can bring it in then. And try and talk to him, you know.
But don't
I won't force
you know,
him.
Sue. No, that's the worst thing you can do. And don't take this the wrong way or out of context, but yourself, you could be doing with a wee bit of support, you know, a wee bit of counselling, because it is taking its strain. And again, I've seen you many times, many times, sis. I love you on my heart. Oh, no. You could be doing a wee bit of help yourself. You know, honest. I see it at times.
I think that, Sue.
The strain
because
is,
you carry so much on your shoulders. It's unbelievable. The what you've lived and seen in your lifetime, what you've been through, and what you do for your family is unreal. It's so you couldn't even word it. It's just phenomenal. The character you are is super. I can't even find words to explain it. You're just such a fantastic and brilliant person. It's unbelievable.
Thank you. Well, I do my best. As I say, you know, I've got my daughter, I've got my grandchildren, I've got my great-grandchildren, you know, and they are my world.
oh, yeah.
My whole world. Especially
It's strange how
my
your grandkids are so bonded to you, isn't it?
Yeah. And my great-granddaughter.
Fantastic. Yeah. What a fantastic bond you've got.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. For kind of like almost second generation family to live that way. It's very, very hard to accept that normal families don't get on, and yet a second generation can live like you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm close. It's 4 generations of us, and we're all very close. Very, very close. You know.
You're not that close to your daughter, though, are you?
Not as close as I should be. We did have a laugh last night, but to the extent that I took 20 milligrams of diazepam because of her. You know.
That's a lot of bloody diazepam.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes we can be.
If I had 20 milligrams of diazepam, I'd be off my trolley.
Yeah, but I'm on so much medication anyway. You're already off your trolley anyway.
AJ never heard that.
Hey?
AJ never heard that.
Oh, didn't he?
No, he would have laughed at that one.
But no, I'm not so close to her as I should be, but that's her. But her daughter and her daughter Harper, as you know, my granddaughter, who
yeah, lovely, beautiful.
is the light of my life. She really is.
You know, the thing is, well, you always know when somebody's a wee bit down, and it's true there. I don't know what it is with you, but this is true, Alan. Every time I'm a bit down, Sue knows, and the next thing, she's got a wee Harper on. You know, and that makes my day. I love that wee girl as if she was my own granddaughter. She's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and the things she comes out with, you know, with Sue, because Sue was telling me today, I'll let you tell her about your bag when you went home. Where Sandy had been.
Oh yeah, and when I left Jean yesterday to come home, I come round the corner and Harper's in the back of the car and she's waving, shouting, Nana, Nana. So I stopped coming. So I got in the car and she had a big carrier bag of presents going for it. And she said, where's Sandy and Jane? So I said, don't worry, Nana's got them. So I got the cow out and the teddy bear. I said, here's Sandy and Jane. And but she calls him, because he's an elf or whatever he is, she said, no, I want to talk to the real Sandy.
Yeah. That is brilliant. I remember I did speak to the real Sandy. Brilliant.
Yeah. You know,
She's amazing. Brilliant.
But hey ho, we just have to carry on and fight, keep fighting. That's what we got to do. Don't give up. You know, I'm not giving up.
Well said, sir. Well said. I just feel a little bit guilty in actual fact because Charles is in the on the show, and I know he's got his camera off at the moment. I don't know if he's doing other things or anything. But Charles, do you want to come on and say something because you haven't said a word tonight? Bless you.
No, I'm listening and all. I'm following everything, but I'm actually also doing some of my documents and that, if you know what I mean. So I've got my scanner working all the time, if you know what I mean, making copies, putting onto my computer. So don't worry, if you know.
Was you listening to Delroy earlier on when Delroy was saying about, you know, he wasn't going to go into too much detail, but what he was saying earlier on that, you know, and he's always said it to me that, you know, he's had enough and he wants to get on with it and he wants to do something. And, you know, everything is so corrupt and so wrong with this country that, you know, we need to do something. And when you listen to what Sue's been saying and you listen to what Sandy's been saying about quarriers, and then you went through my story on Friday and you're just a collective, you know, with the three of us. And it goes to show how rife it is.
Yeah. The thing is, I mean, you do get copies and that, and so do Delroy and that, but I'm making the big move to help everybody because I've got the case laws, what they're doing against me and all this lot. And I've got the, you know, bit between my teeth and all this lot. And hopefully tomorrow, the Supreme Court will get it on all this lot. And even they're in trouble because actually the Supreme Court in 2008 down in London, sort of thing, case under the European Human Rights Act was given to them straight away, basically, they threw it out.
Oh.
Well, they can't. But they can't, but they do, if you know what I mean. Now, that was actually under, as I'm saying in these letters and that, if you know what they're going to get perhaps tomorrow sent is, that is the old Supreme Court, because in 1st of October 2009, the old Supreme Court got a name change, so I can't blame the present ones, if you know what I mean, but they are liable.
What if, like with AJ, the court system in America, like the statutes and things like that we've got in this country, and compared to, because I know, like, our common law, if you go back to the likes of Jefferson and places, people like that, there are American constitutional law. Some of it came from common law. Am I right there, AJ?
Yeah. The entire foundation of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights is, it's influenced by the Magna Carta.
Yeah.
You know, the foundation of the Judeo-Christian laws in
England. Yeah, so basically, you know, the new Supreme Court are getting it, and I'm asking them to put right their wrongs from 2008, because in law, they could not do anything but make a judgment on the human rights abuses, what a judge in Sheffield said, you know, I mean, the government and all this, like, committed serious human rights abuses against me and my family and that, if you know what I mean. And the evidence was all there. But this is what happens with our courts. this is what me, Delroy, Ken and that are saying. The gatekeepers.
Yeah.
I write it all the time in my letters. You are gatekeepers. Your job really is to act as an independent body between a corrupt government and its people. But you've sold your soul. You're acting as gatekeepers, protecting the government. Not all, but a lot of you. It is a law. You will answer for
We
it.
use that word quite often, gatekeepers, because when I'm talking with John and when we're doing interviews and stuff like that, we use that. The amount of times we use that gatekeepers kind of like scenario where we're trying to put things into context, and then we use the gatekeeper scenario where everything is governed by these gatekeepers.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. All government departments, right? You have the spin doctors. So when you write to that office, they get it and they'll just change it to the, you know, I mean, way of so. Early on in the show, while you lot were talking about, I was reading a comment somebody on Facebook, a good friend of mine, he's a common law guy. Well, he made a freedom of information request to the Ministry of Justice, because basically they're trying to take his house and land off him, if you know what I mean. Sort of thing. They tried, but he's got it back. When they turned the back, he went and re-got the house and land, if you know what I mean. So they're still trying. So he asked for a freedom of information to the Ministry of Justice, asking, can you give me the information that, like, the bailiffs come, certain terms and conditions they must meet, the police with them, can you, basically, you know, there's about 5 or 6 things he's asked for under the freedom of information, and the Ministry of Justice has turned around and said, we can't give you the information because we come out with Section 32, blah, 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 states that we can't give you the information you want because it might undermine justice, or we won't be able to administer justice, or it might stop bailiffs going around doing their jobs and that. So basically, as I said, gatekeepers, you know what I mean? They're all gatekeepers. The government is institutionally corrupt. You know what I mean?
What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to come off now because I've been on nearly 2 hours. And I'm going to leave Sue, Sandy, and the rest of you to talk amongst yourselves because the show goes on and carries on. So you guys can talk and carry on the show for a little bit longer. So thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Charles. AJ, thank you very much indeed. And as always, brilliant speaking to you and always great to have you on the show, mate. Cheers, AJ.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Love you guys. And I'm really, really thankful that I get to meet you guys.
You can stay on, AJ. I'm just going off myself.
Okay. All right. Alrighty. God bless you.
See you later, guys.
All right, see you in a bit, Alan.
Cheers, Alan.
Alan, I'll probably ring you tomorrow, Alan. Let you spend some time with your wife. I'll give you a buzz tomorrow.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
All right.
Okay, so do you guys want to carry on chatting? You're more than welcome to.
Yeah, but that's like, I mean, myself and Jane, we've been fighting for the Quarriers Warriors. As I say, there are 174 of us, and we were wanting to get Quarriers to give us an apology. Well, they gave us that apology. That was in 2017 at the outset of the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry. They admitted they knew children were getting abused, and it also gave an apology to everyone who was abused during their time in their care. But, and the big but, we were wanting Quarriers to give us a personal written apology, which they refused. And I received a thing in there from the Scottish Redress Scheme, and the so-and-sos have took it down. So it's my fault. I should have got a copy of it, but they've took it down anyway. But they were telling me that if I accept the redress scheme, everyone is, this is every, the 174 years for Quarriers, if we accept the government's redress scheme, final payout, Quarriers will give us a written apology. Now, Quarriers has refused this before. They will give us a written apology if we accept this payout, but, in a big but, we have to sign a declaration that we will not take Quarriers nor the Scottish Government to court, nor will we speak to anyone ever again.
That says it all. That's gatekeeping. That's classic gatekeeping. Scottish government, oh, we're going to get ourselves out of it. No, you're not. That is absolutely classic. We want a confidentiality agreement so that you can't come after us. What? Because you lot did it all in the first place, and you lot are all responsible. Really? Come on, they're having a laugh. They're having an absolute laugh. That says it all. You should have. I hope you had that in writing, Sandy. So you can expose them.
Well,
I hope you got that on file because that needs exposing. Does that?
Well, I had it, but they sent me that, and it was taken down the same day, and that's true. I seen it. We've probably all been sent that.
Yeah, because that's telling everybody what they need to know, how corrupt it is. That's what Charles was just saying.
Before you could do anything about it, they remove it, and we get that a lot. But we know how corrupt they are. And as far as I'm concerned, they can stick their money up a where the sun don't shine. I don't want it. I've never wanted money. All I want was a written apology. And the only way I can get that written apology is if I sign a contract. But I did get a written apology, and I've got that in writing there from the Scottish Government because they failed me. They failed so many of us because the Scottish Government had come out with rules and regulations years ago that all orphanages in Scotland had to abide by, but they never followed this up. They failed us.
That's where the liability is, you see, and that's what they don't want. They don't want to upset that they're liable as well. You need to. It's not just Quarriers. It's a lot. It's Quarriers. It's Quarriers itself in terms of the people who was the abusers in the home. Then it's the local education authority who's supposed to be making sure that the homes are running properly, and it's the government's responsibility to keep an eye on the local education authority to make sure they were doing the job properly and keep an eye on the homes to make sure they run properly so there was no abuse going on. So they're the three entities that you need to go for, and the people behind them. So they're the three: the local education authority, the government itself because they're not enforcing the legislation, and the people and the abusers who are running the homes. That's you know what I mean, Sandy? Go on.
Well, Quarriers wasn't run by council, nor was it run by government. This was run by shareholders, very, very rich people.
Yeah, so, but it's got to be Sandy. But Sandy, there has to be accountability. So the local education authority, because obviously people being educated there, the local education authority still has a duty to keep an eye on what's going on there. And the government certainly have a duty, even if it's private institution, they still got to regulate to make sure that there's no abuse going on there. So that's why they're trying to get you to sign these confidentiality agreements, because they know they failed you. And it's them who are responsible because they know that the legislation that was put in place clearly wasn't being followed up. The local education authority are in charge of social services, who should have been keeping an eye on what was going on and reporting that to the government and let know what's going on. Everybody knows all they all failed. They all failed. That's why they all want you to sign this confidentiality agreement, saying that you won't blame the social services, you won't blame the government, when actually it's their fault in the first place.
Yeah, well, Quarriers has no records of me at all. The police has checked us out as well, and there's no records whatsoever of me being in Quarriers. And I was told 4 different reasons. I was told they didn't keep records during my time. I was told at first they didn't keep records of my time. And now Jane was with me that day and she had her records, so that was proved wrong. Then they told me the offices were kept in went in fire, which I proved wrong. Then for there, it went, they were lost when they moved office. There were many. And when I asked, were there an investigation carried out? The girl I spoke with, Josie Bell, got up and left Jane and I. Whenever, she wouldn't speak to him again. Recently, they got in this new woman, but she's resigned and all. And this is all these arseholes. I'm sorry, I did swear in it. But this woman, I can't remember her name right off, I'll probably come to me. But she told me, she goes, maybe the reason you've not got any records is your mother and father had an agreement with us. I goes, well, I don't know. I goes, it's a possibility, I don't know. And then that was swung round about that I had said my father and mother had an agreement. That is not true. Jane is here as my witness. They were not my words. They were Quarrier's words. They swung that round. I mean, it's nothing but bloody lies after lie after lie with Quarriers. I'm not the only one that's not got records. But Quarriers, oh, we don't know anyone else that's not got records. There were a fella who we know was involved with records, a Baldwin Bar, and he was at Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry, and he was getting questioned, and he was asked, did he know of any child that reported their abuse? And nothing was done. And he went, no. Lady Smith told him, you do. And he goes, well, there were one boy. He goes, but I can't remember his name. I suffer from dementia. You've got to forgive me here. And every time I so-and-so, he uses a dementia card. He has not got dementia. Now, I was walking around Quarriers Orphan Homes with Jane and her sister Wilma and Wilma's husband Ian. And he had not seen, that was only about 3-4 years ago, and he had not seen Jane since Jane was 14. To this so-and-so took Jane home to a father that didn't want him. And he came walking up and right away, and he went, oh, I can't believe it. Oh my God. Jane and Wilma Taylor, oh, it's been years. He freaking knew them as adults. And then when Jane told him about taking him home to an abusive father who didn't want him, again, oh, I can't remember, I suffered the dementia. Well, I've got the church to get ready for the service tonight. He knew he had that to do. And off he went, never said a word, plodding away. This man is evil. We know that, we can't prove it, but we know that he had children's records who was abused. We got a leak out about that, but nothing was done about that. Not one thing was done about that. And seemingly this man had records as children that was abused in his house, but not one thing was done about that. We can't prove it, but we know what happened. We know what happened. And this is the corruption that's going on with Quarriers. I mean, this, I thought maybe by going to Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry, I honestly believed this would help children and maybe bring an end to child abuse. No. I'm resenting what I've done now.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known at the time, though, Sandy. You wouldn't have known at the time. It's, you know what I mean?
The only decent thing that it's done is bring us closer together.
Yes.
Well, I mean, Jane and I, we've took 37 victims and we've gave them support that now they can live with it.
Yeah.
Assuming I'm spending what to, well, they've all walked the suicidal thing, and that's no more. So that's a good thing. It's the only decent thing that's come out of this for me anyway. You know, it's the only decent thing. But the corruption in this whole bloody system.
Yes.
No, nah.
No, but at least it's brought it together, Sandy. It has brought it together.
Abuse inquiry. I don't even think that'll do any good, personally.
No, but if he brought it together, I do think that at least there's that one good thing that's come out of it, that you have got more of your survivors together, because to get all of you together, they are the stronger you are going to be, because the more of you can help each other to start exposing the truth. So I do think that side of it, I do think that's positive. But if that's the one thing you've got out of it, at least he has some, at least he is some good that's come out of it on that front.
Yeah, I would say it's the only decent thing that's come out of it. No. But the only way we can hurt these so-and-sos that rank warriors is in the pocket. It's the only way we can hurt them, because money means more to them. And I know half of them. I've worked in their gardens when I had my business and I know how they all work. I was brought up with this. I mean, where I was born, I was just outside the village of Beechholme. Check it out and you'll see the amount of millionaires that lives in there is unbelievable. Oh, really? They don't need to care. The only problem they've got is getting out of bed in the morning, hitting their head off the ceiling because they've got that much stashed under the bed and offshore accounts. That's the only problem so-and-so's has got. You know, and that is true there. But the only way we can hurt them is in the pocket. You know, I don't want money. I've said that for day one. But I will take the money, but I give it away. I mean, I give my word on that Jane's son will see a hell of a lot of it, and I've got other ones. I mean, Jane's son, he fought for our country, and what he's seen over there at Rectiboy. And when I first met Jane's son, he wasn't in a good place. But I worked with him and I've helped him. And Jane, I mean, she was talking to Sue about this. He's coming out of cell, he's doing a lot more. But I want to make sure that boy's okay. He was prepared to give his life for us. Surely to Christ, I can give him something in return. You know, it's the least I can do. And for so many, because I don't want money. I just want a bit of paper to say they were sorry. That's all I want. It's all I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
I'll fight it.
Well, I was just going to say, when we was in the start of secondary school, obviously we had to go on buses to school because it was outside the home. And I mean, we were mischievous. We weren't bullies or nothing, but we had this posh school called Greenacres, and they looked down on us. Well, in the old buses, you know, you had the back seat, the seat at the back, and the stairs were there. Well, when they used to come up, we used to pull their hats up and twang them, right? It's all we ever done to them. Well, by the time we got off the bus, we walked in the gates of Beechholme, and all you could hear was from Banner's office, Susan Peake, Moira Lohman, in my office now. So we'd go in there. We knew we was going to get caned, you know, and it happened every day. And you'd have to go in there and he'd say, you've bullied the girls on the bus from Greenacres. And he wouldn't listen to us. And all he said was, nick us down over the table and cane us. And anyway, there was a policeman outside our school. So we went and spoke to him about it. And he said, okay, I'll get you seen to. Well, we've come in from school one day and he shouted as usual. Well, when we got in there, the police were in there. So he said, this policeman's come because you got complaints about abuse. And we said, yeah, and we was a bit, I must admit, we were scared. And he said, well, I've told him what you two are like and you're nothing but liars. He said, so nothing's going to be done. And he said to the officer, okay, if you finish, you know, that's it. And the officer went out. And of course, straight away, we got caned again. All because we told the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how it was. And he was an abuser. By doing that to us, he was abusing us. You know.
That was a thing. In a lot of these homes, we were never believed. We were always the bad children. No, we were always the baddies. But what these so-and-sos forgot was, we were the children that was kept silent, but they forgot that we would grow up to be adults. And we would speak out. Not us all, but some of us, they didn't think any of us would speak out. And the more we speak out, the more hope we're giving to others, and the more they're coming forward.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
We've all got to link and get this out there, get it be known, bring these victims, get them speaking out and getting something bloody done.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, as I say, I think it's too late for me, but if I can, if us doing what we're doing gets it out and stops it from happening to other children, then it's worth it.
Definitely.
It's
Definitely.
worth it.
100%. So that's what I'm saying, because this is what I'm saying, because what I've noticed, and you've just given a perfect, I was speaking to Alan about this the other day, Charles is on it, but he'll have heard as well, is that every single time the authorities or the police get a hold of something, we'll get the information, but they bury it. They bury the information, they bury the truth, and they try to hide the truth. And this is what I don't. This is why we do what we did the other day, because what we're doing is going to be outside of their jurisdiction so that they can't bury it. This is why hopefully at some point we'll be coming to see you. And I think I've got a couple of them that Alan knows that we've agreed to that we want to interview, because we want to get everything on record, get it all audio typed, get it all filed, have all paperwork done, and get it all filed, because then that way we've got an archive that's outside their jurisdiction, and if we have to go and deal with them, we can deal with them. But what can't happen is they can't keep hiding this stuff, getting the information out and then burying it. That's what's got to stop happening. So if you are right, so if it prevents stuff from happening in the future, it's worth it. I definitely agree with you, Sue. 100.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Wandsworth Council, it's only recently I found this out. The head of social services there was a paedophile.
You see what I mean? It's disgusting. So
You
whereabouts
know?
at your moment? You don't mind me.
I'm in Bexhill-on-Sea near Hastings.
Okay, so you're not something coming to I think it's you and Gina. I definitely want to come down and see you two.
I don't know
Definitely.
if Gina go through with it, to be honest with you. But there are a couple of others that I know will do, you know. But I said I sorted through like with Alan. He's going to help me through things and that. But I will definitely go through with it.
Yeah,
you know.
I want the nonsense stopped on with you. We've got to do something outside of this scenario of we keep relying on the police and keep relying on other people to allegedly do something about it. They get all the information, they get more than enough evidence, and all of a sudden it gets buried and goes underneath the ground. That is just like that sensitive and disappears. That kind of that's what we've got to stop. We've got to have something that's outside of their control that we can still expose the truth with, because they can't keep hiding it. Because that's the only thing I keep seeing all the time, and this is what allows them to keep getting away with it, is because they keep hiding it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ken said to me that before, you know, when I was in the hospital and all the papers got burnt, all the files got burnt, but I wasn't sure who ran the hospitals to find out who allowed them to be burnt or whatever, and when it was actually done, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that come under the Surrey something or other or what.
Yeah, it might be able to get SARS to find out what's happened to it. Because you have to have what's called the certificate of destruction when they destroy something to prove it's been destroyed. So that's what we can find out, or whether or not it's the records will be destroyed or lost. We should be able to find out. They might still have the records, they might not, but at least either way you'll find out one way or the other.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what
Sandy.
I find out.
Well, we know there were 7,500 children sent from Corners Orphan Homes to Canada, and every one of the kids' records were burnt.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, in some circumstances, like I said, they will get rid of a certain amount of evidence. Do you know what I mean? I agree with you, Sandy. We might get lucky, we might not, but either way, we've got to find out just in case they are on record. If they're not, then they're not. People still got their own testimonies, like yourself.
There's a woman over in Canada. Her name's Laurie Ovchesky, and she does with the British Home Children. And she reunites families. You know, like children fell back even before my time, and she's reuniting families with families, sort of thing. Laurie can give a hell of a lot of information about what happened to these British Home Children.
Yeah.
And I mean, Google it. Just type in British Home Children. Watch what happened to these kids. Jesus. Wow. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Heartbreaking stuff. And I mean, if you don't shed a tear here, you're no bloody human.
Yeah.
You know, things that happen to these poor kids. And that's why they were, because the children for Corners, we do know, and we've seen, well, it was later they were sent to Australia. Canada closed its border to the British Home Children in 1948. So they started shipping them off to Australia.
Yeah.
We know there were children shipped off to New Zealand, Australia, Africa, America, and Canada.
Yeah.
That's where the colonies, more or less, they were all shipped off to, you know. But when Canada closed its border, Korea started sending more children to Australia. We know of 4,300 that was sent to Australia, and I did meet one of the it was one of the guys that had been sent to Australia, and it was up in Dundee. I met him. I was doing a food bank for the needy sort of thing, and the fella was out giving a hand. We went for a coffee after it, and we started talking. And he was saying about I wasn't from Dundee. I went, no, I'm from Bridge of Weir. I don't know. He goes, I was brought up here. And I thought, in the village, I didn't think Warriors. I goes, whereabouts in Bridge of Weir? He went, and he bowed his head, he went, Warriors. I went, oh my God, were you a Warriors child? I went, well, so was I. And we started talking, and this guy's writing a book. It's called I'm Not a Cabbage. I don't know when it's getting released, but assuming it gets released, buy this. This guy tried to escape, him and his two brothers, and the abuse he suffered. I mean, this guy was tied to a post and bloody bullwhipped. This farmer guy, got his two brothers to bullwhip. He tied his two brothers to a post and he had to bullwhip his two brothers. After he was bullwhipped his two brothers, he was tied to the post and he got the same with his brothers. And he eventually did manage to get back to the UK, and he done well. And he's an author and stuff. He's got a lot, his hands in a lot of things, and he's a rich man. But he's writing this book about his abuse and how what Warriors done to him, how it broke him. You know, but they broke so many.
Yeah.
They broke so many.
I'm just glad people are speaking out. If you've got the thing that the reason why everybody gets to it, like I said with you, and I agree with you, is because people keep hiding stuff. So no matter how people are putting the truth out there, that's great. The more the better. The more the better, because that's what's going to be holding people to account. Because they can't keep burying this all the time, because that's all they've been doing. He's trying to hide this. That's all they've ever done, Sandy.
Yeah, it's not a thing I want to do. I don't want to speak out about this. I never do. It's hurting. I can't say it's no, you know. Even now, I just feel like a wee shed a tear or two, but I'll be okay. But it does hurt you. But I do it not because I want to. It's because I have to.
Yeah.
And it's giving hope. And that's all I want to do. Give hope to others to come forward.
Yeah.
See, what happened to us? We can't go back in time and make it not happen. It's happened. We've got to do our best to cope with it. We've got to do that. We support each other, and we'll support anyone that wants that support. We're here for them 24 hours a day. I mean, Jane and I, we've been up all night with people.
Yeah.
We're doing that, but we really don't want to do it. But if we can just do our part, we know I'll continue after Jane and I's away. But I see so many young ones coming out there. They need a wee bit more training. You know, two brilliant girls up here, Bexy and La, they're needing a wee bit kicking the arse now and again, and just to bring them into line. But they're doing brilliantly. Wee guy is brilliant. And if we can get the young ones, you know, supporting us, then we know that through time, this could be brought to an end.
Yes.
People unites and comes together. There are too many people out there looking for self-glory, and they run us down. I see it with Sue, I've seen it with Jean, seen it with myself, seen it with Jane, seen it with John Wedger, seen it with Alan, all criticising us, running us down, trying to bring us down. You know, what the hell are they doing this for? You know, they placed in there to do this or what, I don't know. But this is got to stop as well. It's too much here. We've got to learn to live together, work together instead of running each other down.
Yes.
You know,
We'll get stronger that way. I mean,
Yes.
we go out before the COVID. We was out at Parliament on the first Wednesday of every month. We took flyers down there and we had our banner up. And the amount of people that actually stopped and spoke to us about it. And we had people actually coming out with, well, I was abused and they've never spoke to anyone about it. you know, and there was so many, and it's only a little thing by handing out the flyers, but it does get out there, and people do come forward, you know, and the more that we get coming forward, the stronger we become, you know, and we will get out there.
But what annoys me as well, you see these groups, okay, on my Facebook site, there's almost 5,000 people on there. Okay, there's many overseas, various countries. The people down south, they're all over the place. But there's many here from Scotland. So if I take that 5,000, I even said that 2,000 from Scotland, I'd probably put it at. Where are they when we're doing these rallies? And I see, I'm talking about people that could come, but don't. I mean, where are they? Why don't they? Why are they allowing this to happen? I don't know. You know, it's like bolting the stable door after the horses run away. You know, and that's true. You know, they're not doubting that. The support is pretty shocking here. You know, I mean, you see other demonstrations, and they're not in the droves. They're in thousands and thousands. But when it comes to child abuse, everybody seems to walk away from that. They don't want to hear it. That's a bad thing. You know.
Well, we was having our demo on the 24th of October, and we was having thousands there. But I've had to stop it because seeing what's going on up there now with the police, we've got a lot of old people. I'm not prepared to put their lives at risk for no one. So I'm cancelling it.
No, what pisses me right off is the police know about it. But these people that's out in the street, the police, okay, they've got a job, they've got a pension, they've got everything, they've got a great job, there's no doubting that in the police, it's a great job. I don't blame the police guys, I blame the higher up. It's a higher up. These guys are petrified for their job because if they don't do what they're told, they're booted out. And if they've got a young family to support and they lose their job, it costs them everything. No, and I'm not doing that. You know, it happens all the time. But if the police guys would just use a wee bit more of that what we're doing and go, right, enough's enough, we're not taking your orders, we're not doing that. And stand with us instead of against us. Then big changes could be made. Same with that. No.
When we was up in Scotland, the police, I mean, we was at the last demo we was at, and the police were there. They never stopped, made us, you know, get in sixes. They never forced us to have masks. They never interfered. And they came and spoke to us and was joking about, you know, it was nothing like the British police.
Well, no,
nothing at all.
It's night and day between Scotland and England. You know, and I'm talking about England here, where the police, if they'd done a wee bit more like Scotland, and you heard the two call-ins after it, and I don't want to say too much, but they turn around and they goes, we can go home and tell our superiors. There's nothing to worry about here.
Yeah, but the police are always down here. When we went to Nottingham, and it was a planned demo with the veterans, and then in the morning we'd heard Antifa and Black Lives Matter were at the station. We just wondered what was going to happen. So we went to the BBC, and then we was marching down because it was agreed we could do it there into the Market Square. We get down to there, and there's all police in front of us with a barrier behind, and then a little bit apart was another barrier. And on that side was Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Then the police had told me previously they'd been dispersed. So then the police kettled us in. Black Lives Matter and Antifa were throwing bottles at us and everything. And the police were turning towards us with their batons out.
Yeah, but the best way to do things is put people against each other. put people against
Yeah.
each other.
This is what they did. This,
And
this
this
is
is what
what's
they're
causing the
doing.
divide.
It's happening more and more and more. And I mean, I don't give a shit what colour your skin is, who you
No,
pray.
that's right.
I've not got a religion, as you know. My religion was lost in warriors. But I've got many good friends. I've got Alan,
Yeah.
I've got John, I've got so many, and I don't criticise them. If they believe in that, they get comfort. God bless them. They deserve it.
Yeah.
One wee beliefs that I believe in. But if you put people against people, it takes away from government.
Yeah.
100% it takes away from government. And this is where I don't know how to control this. Will it continue? Will folks start listening and work together instead of against each other?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I know that in the end, the veterans had to break through the police so we could get away from, because we weren't causing no trouble, away from them. We went
Yeah, I've
away,
seen it, I
and
do.
then Black Lives Matter and Antifa started fighting amongst themselves.
I mean, I seen one
You
there,
know.
a woman in a wheelchair, and the police grabbed her off. And this police guy, he turned round and he went, and he hit the woman, put her right down on her backside. That guy should be jailed for that. That's a criminal offence. They're there to protect us, not to come out there and batter the crap out of them. And now it's just an elderly woman I seen. Why is this
Yeah.
for, for
Because,
assault?
because what they've done, they're actually bringing in this company called Elite Security. And if you look at them, they've got police uniforms on, but they're wearing, I think it's a red or something coloured hat. They're security. And it seems to be them that is doing it.
You know, the last time I was down in London, I noticed a lot of these guy in the police uniform and a check. It was a red and white check. You know, not
Yeah,
the
they're,
black the police. This was red. I was like, is that what that is?
They're City of London police, not
yeah,
Metropolitan.
yeah.
Ah,
But the ones that were at Trafalgar weren't. They were from a security company
Oh,
called
yeah, yeah,
Elite.
yeah.
And they're definitely the ones that are causing.
yeah, but when we were down at Parliament that time, I seen the mayor with the red check.
Yeah, we had. I mean, there's always different. I mean, you get what they special TG something or something police. You got all the armed police there, and you got the ordinary copper on the beat. You know, there's all types there. So, you know, a lot of them are all right. If you talk to them.
Yeah, because I mean, that time we were down there, I was talking to a couple of them, seemed okay. But there was no trouble that time we were down there, and nothing like what I'm seeing now. It seems to be that it's just a free for all. You know, let's get in here.
Yeah. And John Wedger was walking round. He was going somewhere around London. I think it was near Trafalgar Square, and he was going past this shop, and there was a copper, you know, ordinary Bobby there, and he stepped out and he shook John's hand. He said, "I'll watch you, and I believe in everything you say."
Yeah.
He said, "You know, you're not lying."
The one that got me is with John, and it was with Boris Johnson, and he seen him one day, and John had asked him, he goes, about child abuse, and Boris turned and told him, he goes, "It's nothing to do with me," left him standing.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the Prime Minister of the UK going, "Child abuse, nothing to do with me."
Who's it to do with them?
If that's the leader, what likes his tigers on, or his followers? Yeah.
We went to the Home Office and we saw Victoria Atkins, and she had two other people. There was John, Alan, me, Graham, and Moira, and we had to introduce ourselves. And John was first, and he said, "I'm John." She said, "You're not allowed to say nothing," she said to him. And then we started telling our stories, and Victoria Atkins was crying. So were the two women with her, right? And then she said, "I promise we're going to help you." And we went out, and there was a black lady there. She was ever so nice. She pulled me aside, And she was still crying. She said, "I'm so sorry for what happened to you. It should never have happened, but we will do all we can to help you." Right? But nothing was ever done.
Well, that's what you do. I mean, I had that with Sturgeon, and it was at a conference she was speaking at, and I was there. And I mentioned about child abuse, and she stood up, "Oh, I'll see you after, blah, blah." She was going to meet with me. I went, "Right, great." So I was saying to the girl as well, "Because it's no bad, she's going to see me." So after it, we were waiting out, and Sturgeon comes walking by, and I was like, "You're going to have a word with me." And she bowed her head, and the next thing is a security mob was pulling me away, and then they were rushing her out. No, and that happened twice. And then I was threatened that if I ever say anything about Sturgeon, God help me. And that's true. Jane can verify that's true as well. God help me if I ever speak out about Sturgeon, that I don't know the powers I've got. And that was true. That's true. So, as I tell them, bring it on. You know where I stay. Anytime they want to come down. If I'm getting out, there's a few of them getting out as well. You know.
I just hope there's a modern day Guy Fawkes out there somewhere.
Aye, well, it's corruption. You know, one of the best guys I ever met in my life, true warrior, and he gave me the strength to go on in jail. He was a legend, this man. I loved him so much. It was Robert Greene. Sturgeon freaking knows a lot about Robert Greene, and so does Salmon. They know a lot. They jail that poor guy. The corruption.
Well, I'm going to have to go because I've got to go on a phone call to find out about these children's graves in Beechholme.
All right.
Bye, Sue. Love you.
I've got to go
God
as well.
bless you,
Bye.
Sue.
Right,
Thank
see you
you.
later,
Love you
Sue.
all.
Right.
Take
See you
care.
later, Sandy.
Bye. Bye.
Nice chatting.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Right. Hey, AJ.
Oh, it looks like it's just you and me, Sir Spencer.
I'll tell you what, Western Union, they are.
Yeah. The way you send the money.
Yeah. Well, for years I've always used them to send money to me Ukraine lady, you know what I mean, every fortnight, if you know what I mean. Obviously when I'm here, I don't have to use them. But a few weeks ago, suddenly stopped. Huh? What's this? And there's a error code or whatever. So in the end, I tried a few things, tried redoing it a few times. Anyway, phones them up. You got to give it. Oh, go on. Answer the phone. Answer. Oh.
No, it's fine. I'm talking. Oh, yeah. Sorry. No, it's fine. It's just
like
coworkers.
Just send us your new, update your detail, blah, blah, blah. And a bit later on, you're clear now. But I tried, but I couldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
The lock's still on, take a few hours. 6 hours later, tried, still having problems and all this lot. Phones them up again and all this lot. I was going, when's it going to be cleared? I goes, my woman's had to borrow money to go up to this other city where she used to live to go and get the daughter's school records, you know what I mean? Then get hold of our kitten who's been left there 10 days with people and fetch her suitcases and that in a car down to Odessa. So I had to borrow the money. The money, it's only 35 English pounds required. You know what I mean? I was right.
He spent that in gas and petrol.
Train journey would have only been about £8 and the rest to pay the guy for the car, you know what I mean? Returning. Because they won't allow cats on trains and that, if you know what I mean. Plus she had the suitcases and that. Anyway, it's going on. And then next morning I woke up, I tried. And cutting it short, there's an email saying I've been blocked. Can't use it forever. And I go, huh? So then I was phone calls to him, emails to him. I mean, what the hell's this? You know what I mean? I got told yesterday you've been unblocked. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. They're going on and that. And then I got an email saying, oh, it's not to do with us. It's American policy, USA, and all this lot.
Oh my
That's
God.
right. This is United Kingdom. And also, American laws don't bloody have any effect here and all this lot. So stop giving me that crap. I goes, get it unblocked or I'll actually go into court in England and have you stopped operating. I goes, and also in Europe. Anyway, they told me I wanted your details, your codes and that. So, you know, for the court papers, they gave me Austria, place in Austria, and I sent the details to them. Well, they have the license to Western Union to operate in Europe or something.
Yeah.
And I said to them, once you clear this and stop the bullshit, I will apply. But also, I've got a friend called, meaning you, AJ, sure he'll do it. The court for me to block you until this is sorted out. I said, yeah. I goes, I tell you what, besides the normal fortnightly transaction, you know what I mean? So, you know, I goes, yes, there has been a couple more because she's had to move. Well, you know, move to Odessa there. I goes,
right.
She needed money for a lockup to put all the furniture in because it can't go down.
Oh my God.
You know, say, oh, the daughter, she had to go in a clinic for 2 weeks for treatment.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I go, so there is over there thingies. I go, they're only talking about 35,
That's so frustrating.
£50 each transaction. Not as if I'm moving 200 million, you know what I mean? Druggle.
Yeah, that's so frustrating.
Anyway,
so frustrating.
It was so bad.
Give me 1 second, Charles.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
Go on, Charles. I can still hear you in my headphones.
Yeah. So I've seen a couple of others, like, you know what I mean, something. So I set up one and that, you know, and I sent her the money that way, you know, no problem. That. I think Western Union's cleared, like, you know what I mean, or whatever. I've never tried it. Chuff you.
Yeah, Western Union's always been really frustrating for me. I rarely have used it, but it's funny how they can do that, right? Like corporate companies from America can try to impose their laws in a place where American laws.
Yeah, I'm not interested in American laws and all this. I understand your job. You're watching out, but I don't think I'm smuggling 35 quid's worth of drug money at a time.
Yeah, it's crazy when you think about like how much, you know, the level of bureaucracy that takes place with those big companies when you take into account the clientele, the consumer. You know, $100 for them might be that bill that's going to keep their light bill on, you know? So it's like, yeah, those big companies don't give a shit. I love you, buddy. This is my best friend from America, Kirby, right here. He's one of the best human beings I know in the USA.
England.
I'm on a stream on England right now.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
I don't see what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's madness, though. It really is when you think about the...
Yeah, I mean, I can understand him and all this. I used to use the other one, MoneyGram, years ago.
Right.
They operate from the mail office down below, you know, because I live above some shops, if you know what I mean. So I had to go down below, you know what I mean? But they did it. Oh, no. Blocked. American, you know, law says you're not allowed.
And MoneyGram, is that an American company too, MoneyGram?
Well, I think so. Well, yeah, that's what they said. American laws, and you have to get through them. And I was speaking on the phone to her. And I said, I've been using you for a while. Here's me
Yeah.
card. Because I've sent you
Yeah.
the
Going in?
documentation.
Oh,
You know what I mean? What's your
forgot
problem?
my damn keys. I love you, buddy. See you soon. Yeah, you know, all those companies, I feel like they all come from the United States.
Yeah.
You know, they're all U.S. based companies. Like, I've never heard of a company like that that's not U.S. based, like MoneyGram, Western Union.
Yeah.
Just
I
about
think the
all
one
of
I
them.
started to use, remit it or something, remit whatever. I think they might be London based or something, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And they ask, oh,
yeah.
give us 10 days and we'll clear it. I go, what do you mean 10 days?
Yeah, I know, right? In 10 days, people can literally be evicted from their home. It's pretty nuts, man. I can't find my keys. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Sorry, Charles, I'm in transition right now.
Oh,
Seem to
yeah,
have
no.
dropped my keys somewhere. But how long have you been working with them for? Like, is this the first time you've dealt with anything like that before?
Oh, Western Union.
Yeah.
I've been with them for years.
Wow.
You
You
know
might
what I
have
mean?
dropped them. You've been working with them for years?
Yes. You know, believe it. You know, they admitted it. Yeah, you're a long-term customer. We don't want to lose you. I said, well, you will do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I still think that's kind of crazy though when you think about it. The level of leniency that we're forced to give these companies is downright criminal. It really is, especially when, like, you know, they become the giant conglomerates they are through our consumerism.
Yeah. I thought, I'll get AJ, file a motion.
Yeah, I'll file a motion for you. I just don't know how far it's going to get us.
Oh, no. I mean, just give him the...
Yeah, no, who cares? We'll just file a motion right here out of LA County. We'll be like, hey, you're harassing and discriminating an old English gentleman.
Hey,
Trying to send money.
you. young,
Hola, amigo.
young man. What?
That's crazy. I can't find my keys.
You need one of them with the whistle on them where you go.
Oh my God, they're in my till. No, it's in the till. I'm losing my mind, man. Hola, señor. Poquito español, amigo.
How you been?
Good, amigo, good. God is one, right? Jesus.
Hey, you know that.
Yes, sir. Hey, D, I'm gonna go check on Mom real quick with you. Thank you. Sorry, Charles. Ever since my father has fallen ill to diabetes and he's got both of his feet amputated and he goes on dialysis and stuff, I've had to inherit the responsibilities of managing his employees and businesses, and it's been an absolute shit show. So it's like while I never have time to actually sit down and stream. So, you know, while I'm streaming on the weekdays, I'm working too. And then when I have to go to the courts, I definitely can't be on the stream because that's just not allowed. Very bad etiquette. So how long have you been with this woman in Ukraine for?
We had 13, about 9 years. No, we lost him.
Sorry, Charles. I apologize. Sorry about that, Charles. I got a call. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, I've been with her 9 years.
Anyway, so you said you've been with her for how long?
9 years.
Charles?
9 years.
Wow, what the
Can't
hell?
you
Why
hear me?
can't I hear you in my headset now?
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a long time.
Hey, we got over the 7-year itch. You know about that.
Wow. Man, people my age in my generation can't even make anything last a year, let alone 9 years.
Yeah. I was talking to her today because last night a British guided missile destroyer went into the Black Sea, caused Russia to panic, you know what I mean? Sort of thing. And she probably, she's allowed in the Black Sea for 21 days and she probably go Romania a visit and also Odessa, you know what I mean? So Natasha's in Odessa there and I was saying, go and visit it, have a look at it.
Man, how come she can't come to England?
Whether visa people say you won't go back, you know what I mean? Huh? But this is one of the issues I'm taking to the Supreme Court in England to get them done for the lies. If they say we believe she won't go back, that's it. You get a refusal. You know what I mean? Well, how can you accuse somebody of a crime they have no thought or reason wanting ever to commit, if you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
you know, this is how corrupt they are and that.
Yeah, that's terrible. Have you had any dealings with the Ukrainian government?
Now they're okay. Never had any issues with them or, you know what I mean? Just the UK one. Well, also a daughter, Veronica, age 13 now. She was 13 yesterday. They say that she can't come into England because if she did, I'll make a claim for child benefit, £21 a week for her. So the banner or whatever. Crazy.
Yeah. Sorry, give me 1 second, Charles. I'm just counting money. Can you explain to me about that case you're going to be presenting?
Oh, there's many things on the case to the Supreme Court. Corruption, probably about 8 cases all involved, sort of thing. You know, I mean, one of them is the visas for Natasha and that. Natasha's actually been into England, sort of thing. We put in for her, but only for her, sort of thing. It's one of the ways to get round it. If you meet somebody abroad, English and that, and the woman's got a child, if you put in for both of them to come first time, the chances are they will block it and use the excuses like they've been using against us, coming here to live and not go back, like, you know what I mean? So the advice is, so the advice is just for the woman. But we did that with Natasha, and
Excuse me, Charles. I'm really sorry.
no, I understand. Don't know what anybody thinks about Boris's latest thing that there's 16,000 positive tests went missing.
Yeah, Dell wasn't too happy with him at all. He was cussing him out earlier.
Yeah. But I mean, it's all a con. Basically saying, oh, we missed 16,000 positive tests off the coronavirus, you know, so they're lying like, oh, they're trying to build up the, you know, the list, the numbers of positive tests so they can do a lockdown. Isn't it funny that, you know, oh, we suddenly missed 16,000 off. Could understand 5, 10, you know, missing sort of thing, but 16,000 and nobody noticed. Still, people are very gullible in the UK at the moment. Believe anything Boris says.